your skill are going and break inside, you know. Whoops.
It's all about Carnival Slayers, and Darren, let me tell you that. Listen, we're big, small, tall, black, white, you name it. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Carnival Slayers,
is the place to be.
All right?
All right?
Make sure you follow,
like, subscribe. You can go wrong.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. We all in different places.
Yeah, we're all in different places. I buy Lisa, buy us downstairs.
Oh, I done.
Evening.
Good evening, manners and respect.
That's all right.
Apologies for my lateness. I was fighting a zombie with some chana and banana.
Mm-hmm.
And the zombie come from New York.
The zombie come from far.
Yeah.
You're starting your trouble already.
Easily. So, boss, how you want us to do to deal with this?
Who dog back in there?
We are live and we need to introduce today's show.
Influential.
You ready?
Right. We're ready.
Welcome. Are you actually ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. What's I gonna do? Good evening, good night. Welcome to the hot source, the hot sauce, as we like to call it. I am going to be your well-esteemed host for this evening. I go by the name of Sir Influential, representing Flag Sound, Braff and Zess, and more. I would like to introduce to you my beloved, amazing guest panelists, speakers on this brilliant topic this evening. Where should I start? Oh my God, this panel is very strong. I don't know. I don't want to upset anybody. Let me start to the top right. Introducing the lovely Miss Pon the Road.
Good evening, folks. Obviously, Miss Pon the Road, my page, Pon the Road UK. Obviously, Carnival, Soca, Caribbean enthusiast, island girl at heart, stuck in the UK. I am here to add to the bacchanal and sometimes a little bit of sense to it.
Right. Fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you. And obviously follow her on the socials, Pon the Road, to make sure you can keep up to date. Beside the lovely Miss Pon the Road is the great Zaya Music. Greetings. I let people know where you're tuning in from, calling in from, speaking in from.
Good evening, everyone. I'm calling in from Brooklyn, New York. We're all the way across the pond, giving that international appeal. Salute everyone in the UK. Enough respect and manners. Interesting topic here tonight. I'm here for all of it. I'm ready.
Right, lovely. Then next we have the lovely relationship guru, the two-man connoisseur. Please introduce yourself, my dear.
Lisa, good night, everybody. As usual, night. Thanks for having me. Everybody else, panelists, nice to have you all here. More men than women, so this should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The men outnumbering the women tonight. Lisa, doing my thing on the Instagram, relationship coaching, getting it out there. So I ready for the drama too. I ready for the stores.
So that means all men here tonight, so we're coming from a logical perspective rather than
Boy,
logics tonight, not emotions.
Let's see, because some men are not logical as they like to think in every circumstance.
I'm glad you said it.
I'm glad you said that too. Yes.
I as the host, I have to do my best to maintain a very neutral standpoint. And with that being said, I'm going to now take us back down to some of the men here, and I'm going to introduce the great Guyanese warrior, Slayer himself.
Yeah, welcome. I go by the name of Pajo. I'm a Guyanese recording artist and promoter, event coordinator, event curator, based in the UK. On the scene, so hopefully I can add some, I have my experience with females. Let's not speak about quantities and that, but I'm sure I could add some sort of context tonight.
With pleasure. And of course, none other than the most proud, the most esteemed, the most long, tallest,
Troublemaker.
big troublemaker there is. He's not just Trini. He's not just full of vibes. He's more than just a chef. He is Super Trini. Please.
I want to say good evening to everybody. I don't know who is the warrior inside here. Last time I checked, he was a zombie, but we will leave that for later. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. The topic this evening is going to be real hot sauce. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a notepad as always. You know, I had to find a new one because somebody thief my other one. And it has more pages in this one, so I'm going to be writing a lot more. But it's a pleasure to be here. Now, as always, Carnival Slayers. Want to give a special shout out to Giselle as well. You know, we miss you already.
Yes,
Gosh,
we were missing you, girl.
Oh, God. Anyway, St. Fincher, blessings and thank you for having me. And let me get this sauce hot one time.
One time, and
Very
before we
deep right
begin dipping into the sauce, we have to take a moment to introduce the entity, the source of the all being pot of sauce, the great slayer of all things Carnival, the one,
Bubbler.
the only lovely Nye Slayers. Please.
Well, thank you. But after the big introduction you gave Super Trini, is that it?
I've given everybody their fair share of greatness.
You gave him a lot.
Well, he's rather tall, so he has to get an extra height of.
See, so all I needed to be was, 6'6", yeah.
Let us not bring my height into this, okay?
You
All
are
right.
more
I'm sitting
than
on a
enough
chair.
eyes
We
of
all
the
the same
Lord.
height.
Well, hello and good evening to everyone who is watching, who has seen Slayer's hot sauce in the past. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to the show today, welcome. This is going to be a peppery show, so get ready, get your water ready. I've got my beverage right here. What's everybody drinking across the board? What's everyone drinking?
Water.
Papa, you didn't nothing. You didn't.
Well,
You
I
didn't
have
get
my
any
water.
memo?
I'm minding my business with my water.
Okay.
You'll get duppy. You'll get duppy, share. Duppy.
No,
Look at
Right.
that.
He's out there.
Well, I'm just here with my
I
glass
have
of
my water. I could.
Okay, I just have my glass of Moby, so that's just me. But yes, hello, thank you everyone and welcome. And yes, over back to you, so influential.
Brilliant. Thank you so much to my esteemed panel. And of course, before we go in any further, we want to, of course, shout out the sponsors for the hot sauce. We can't forget Glow Dazzle for all the makeup and glam. Don't forget GMI Mass Band. And of course, we have to shout out Ralph and Zess happening tomorrow, Friday, the 18th of March. Make sure you get your tickets on Eventbrite. And we can't forget Carnival Slayers on all social media platforms. Please check them out. And of course, check out the website, carnivalslayers.com, for news, reviews, and everything related to Carnival and in between. Now, people, if you haven't gotten yourself comfortable yet, get comfortable, because as we said, this topic is very, very, very serious. And for some of us, it's very personal. For some of us, it's very pertinent. Is that the correct word? It's very home hitting, and we can all relate in some aspect. So I'm going to try my best to let it be a fair ping pong discussion. I don't want anybody overruling the other gender or person, so to speak. If you feel like the person is speaking too close to your truth, please don't take it to heart. We know that life is a bundle of roses and thorns. Now, the topic tonight is, my God, I feel afraid to say it. The topic tonight is how to best describe what it is that constitutes when you're not pleasing your partner enough, like when you're not meeting their needs enough. How do you deal with that? How do you address that from the man's perspective when he is, quote unquote, we're gonna say the person that's shortcoming, no pun intending, and when it's the woman's why are you laughing already? When the woman is on the is on the giving end of that, where she is not able to meet his, intimate needs. Panelists, have you
So
ever been in such a situation?
just to clarify, so you mean like when either partner is not in the mood?
Yes, when either partner is
Okay,
not
all
in the
right.
mood. So that is the core crux. So, like, for example, we in March now. So December gone, you had the local Christmas loving. January come, nothing happen. February come and all it's Valentine, nothing happen. We know towards the end of March, and the most you get is just a kiss on the cheek every morning before work.
Who that happened to?
Many a people in the
Who they
land of
can love in January and February?
many a
Let
people
the
in the
man
land of
speak
the
his
living
truth.
God.
have not received the blessings of righteousness. So
Right.
please, panelists, let's start with Padro, because you're asking who not getting that loving. Have you ever been in such a situation, and what would you advise your male friend or your brother if he was in such a situation where his
Of
part?
course, of course, I've been in that situation. There's different factors that can cause you to not be in a mood. It could be what type of day you had. You could be had a long, rough day, and you're just tired. All you're thinking about is getting some rest to start the new day. But at the same time, it's a case of, yeah, your partner, she feeling a little hot and steamy. Sometimes you gotta dig deep and put in the extra, even if it's a little 20, 30 minutes and settle. She sometimes is a 5 minutes, what I mean? It depends, on what you're looking for. And at the same time, again, it depends on the partner you're with. Because some women at the same time will understand that you had a hard day, and they'll understand that, you know what, you'll make it up another day when you get some rest or so on. Then there's some women who would slap you and say, hey, I don't business if you work 25 hours in a day. I want my thing. I
I'd
mean, it
like to
depends
stop
on
you
your
there,
relationship.
and
Eh?
I'd like to remind the viewers we say no to domestic violence in every circumstance.
But
Continue.
it depends on if the slap is will wake you up. You know what I mean? You never know. That's what my because some
That
people
might be a
fancy a
trigger, right?
slap, a
That
little
might be a
choke
trigger.
now and then, whatever. But at the same time, it depends on your relationship. You know, where you go from there. Each person you need to know your relationship with your partner, where your sexual drive stand, and what you guys look to do, and what you enjoy, and whatever. You can't base your relationship on what society might view as this is the right way to make love, or this is the right time to make love, and X, Y, and Z. No, you have to set that. You all need to figure it out yourself. So for me,
Interesting.
just
Interesting. I'm gonna pause you there because I don't want you to give us too much of your answers as yet, because we have to get a response from the women as well. Thank you for that. So it's all about setting the parameters, is what you're saying, which I agree with and which makes sense. So, Miss Pon the Road, can I come to you and ask you, have you ever been in such a situation where you're not in the mood or your partner is not in the mood for an unusual amount of time? And what is unusual for you?
Oh, okay. So, an unusual amount of time. First of all, first thing I'm going to say is I think for me personally, in my relationship, I've tried to make sure that our sexual appetites are compatible. So we both have the same type of sexual appetite. So for me, where it's coming to play is where I have maybe been unable, due to medical conditions, been able to participate in sex. And for me, I found that hard to deal with, that is lack of understanding. It's not because my sexual drive or I don't fancy you or whatever it is, it's because at this particular moment in time, I'm going through something which obviously did actually lead to an operation, but everything's fine, nothing major. But yeah, so that's what it was about. And I just found that difficult to handle, because outside of that dynamic, we had a similar sexual appetite, but just lack of understanding. When that dynamic actually changes, then as a partner, a long-term partner, we live together, I would expect a lot more understanding and a lot more compassion. So I found that difficult to actually manage. But otherwise than that, yeah, I think it's important that you kind of know each other's sexual appetite. There's no point you go with a man that wants it 3-4 times a day and you're just a once a week woman, and vice versa, because that is just not going to work. You're always going to buck up in an argument. You understand? It's always going to be a and there's nothing worse than just doing or having sex because you feel obligated to do it. And I don't want to hackle at myself like that. I don't see why that's not a healthy relationship. If that's what you have to end up doing, then something really is actually wrong with that whole relationship. Not that sex is the be all and end all, but it is an important part in a relationship or intimacy, and openly communicating. So yeah, I find that's the case. So yeah, but otherwise than that, yeah, compatible sexual appetites. People need to be honest. Like, you know, sometimes you meet someone and you try to go like Miss Hattie Hattie, you know, but in reality you're not.
Where's that Miss what?
Hattie.
Miss Hattie Hattie.
Hattie, you have heard that? Yeah. Oh, that's our Jamaican side coming through.
Yeah. So you have to be honest with yourself and honest with the person that you're, you know what I mean, you have to start a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just
but how many of us are?
Sorry?
How many of us are really honest?
That is the next thing. But
that's
how
true.
many of us are?
On a persona, but the real reality, you need to be honest because it affects you personally. If you put on a fake persona, you're going to get a reaction that's not really based on your true self.
Mm-hmm.
Which in turn, you're going to end up being disappointed with how you're treated or how that person perceives you or how that person looks at you. So you need to be honest.
Let me stop you there, Miss Ponderwood. Thank you so much for that. It's definitely interesting to hear the first 2 points. We're talking heavily about the mood setting and always be the mood and that obligation to your partner and communicating what the parameters are and how you fluctuate within that parameter are very, very key. And that seems to be the resonating feature here now. Honesty, communication. So Super Trini, you're just something there. So let's hear from you. How do you feel it is when couples or have you ever been in a situation where you are more in the mood than your partner, or you're not so much in the mood because you're too busy, you know, dealing with sports and cooking and the events and things? Have you ever been in a situation?
No, you did not say cooking.
The man is a chef. Why we can't?
I know. With a bubble of pot than bubble with the girl, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, to be honest, from my perspective, I am very humble when it comes to that, because if I'm with somebody and that person is my woman and my girlfriend, I try to look at it more from their perspective, because women are a little bit more, you know, they require a little bit more touch where that comes in. I'm not a man's man where it is, I don't have it, I want it, give it to me right now. It could be 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I calling you at work. I your lunch man. I your lunch man. You don't know. I'm not like that. Yeah.
We back to that lunch hour. We back to lunch hour.
I just say not to the lunch hour. You know. Yeah. I would say I am much more relaxed where that is concerned, because I would feed off of their energy in a lot of ways. And don't get me wrong, you can be very wrong where that is concerned as well, because they will want you to take charge at some point too, you know. But it's about understanding the ebb and flow within your relationship with that person, and that only comes with a little bit of time, conversation, 100%, and just knowing and having that conversation first off. Hey, see where their head is at. They may need a different form of intimacy, and it may not just be sex. They may just need a good conversation, or simple as, you know, running the bath, or you know, just, well, the cooking food part, there is no problem, because that's sorted, you know. If they don't do the job, then I ain't doing my job properly. But excuse me, sir. Sorry, what was that, sir?
So if it's Corey, you're in trouble.
Don't bring that.
Curry with all the curry love of
Listen, all I would say is, at the end of the day, that there should never be a pressure where sex is concerned. Intimacy is a different thing to sex, but we're talking about sex and pushing that upon your partner when they may not want it, or they may not even feel desirable. You understand? Because you got to look at it from that point of view. They may not feel desirable, and you saying it to them a million times. Oh gosh, darling, you're sweeter than sugar cane. They'll be like, boy, watch me. I better than bitters.
She's feeling like a bag of salt right now.
She better than bitters, as like that. And you could be saying to yourself, well, how do I change her perception of herself? And that is, boy, Pajri crack that code, influentially crack that code. How it is to make them feel more assured of themselves.
Reassuring. It's
I'm gonna let Zai answer that question himself.
Nah, there's a topic there. You hear them? There's a topic there.
And shout out to all our viewers watching now as well. Please don't forget you can comment as well, and we will see and respond to any of the questions and comments you put in the box. So please don't be shy to leave a comment or a question in there as well. Thank you for watching, and of course, don't forget this is the Hot Sauce Carnival Slayers YouTube. So Zaya, let us know, what are your views on the whole obligation of sex routine with your partner?
Well, I'm gonna take a different approach. Normally the conversation is men approaching women to have sex and the obligation of the woman to the man. But I find women that's have me under pressure. And I have to say, listen. We have to be honest with yourself. We're talking about being honest, right? Just to let you guys know, I'm gonna put my age out, I'm gonna put my business out there. I am going on 50 years old next year. Things I used to do back then, I cannot do no more. And I have to be honest. So I have to make it last. So I say, let me take my time, do this right, and you're not gonna ask me for a second round tonight. You understand? I'm just being honest.
The show shut down.
I'm just saying, you have to be honest. So
we appreciate honesty here on the Hot Source channel.
Right. So when we're talking about obligation, I've learned from my experience that I never say no, but I have to be creative in the ways I go about pleasing my lady.
Hey.
You understand? There's a multiplicity of ways. I'm not going to get into details because this is YouTube, but I'm just saying there's a multiplicity ways that you have to service and take care of your lady. Especially some of these older men, if only like young woman, only have to put young woman pressure. And that's what comes with the territory. You're going to have to service this lady like, hey, this girl will behave herself or what? I'm just being honest. So it's the opposite for me. I've been in a situation like
that. Keep a bucket of water next to the bed.
Because we still have hope, we still have obligation.
Keep a bucket of water. Cool yourself.
Cool yourself.
Exactly. I want to say that.
I respect that. And
I believe that we do have a commitment to our partner, but I think there's other ways of going about satisfying that commitment and satifying our obligation and responsibility in a relationship. So it's not just one way to make a woman happy. You guys ever heard about the rose? It can be very creative.
My mind just went to the left. The time Zai said creative, my mind just went whoop. Okay, continue.
But I'm just saying, though, we have to find creative ways to please our partner. I mean, of course, there's going to be times where you're not in the mood. Maybe your elderly parents are sick. Maybe it's responsibility with the kids, or whatever the case may be. So you may not always be in the mood. But I think we're talking more about patterns rather than isolated incidents. But as far as this pattern, I do believe we have a commitment to our partners and so forth to satisfy them sexually before she go and get her deputy, because you're the sheriff and she might think you need a little helping hand. You understand what I'm saying? So before we get to that level, even though some people might think get a deputy for the sheriff. You understand? I'm saying no, handle your business. I want to know what notes you are taking.
Lisa, what's up with the notes?
Lisa, you keep on notepad.
The lunchtime man, the sheriff, and the deputy. Remember,
That's right.
Previous year, she was a 2-burner. Now she's going for the quadruple, so she have to make sure she knows what she should step in. Yeah, definitely. And speaking of let's straight over to you, my dear. How do you feel about that need for obligation? Have you ever been in a situation where you have to, or you feel pressure to satisfy your partner's needs regularly?
Most definitely, yes. and it is definitely pressure. It is like, so here how pressurized it became, right? Subconsciously, I was blocking while sleeping and did not even know. That's how pressurized it became. So like I was sleeping lower down from them, like almost like away. And my posture while sleeping was more like a, up kind of posture as opposed to like a welcoming, hugging, loving posture. Didn't know I was doing it. I had to be told I was doing it. So that's how pressurized and overwhelmed it became. So while you're sleeping, you're thinking, I don't want this person bothering me because I'm trying to sleep.
Right.
So you sleep in a way where you're not being harassed or you're not being
harassed.
But what do you think? What do you think is like a form of abuse then?
Yeah,
it can almost be, but it's a very unspoken. I feel like abuse is very, very harsh because, like Marshall mentioned, when you're in a relationship, you should try to be on the same sexual level, right? But you tend not to be. You tend not to be, right? Because everybody's mental capacity, everybody's mental state is so different. So at different times. And as I said, you get older, things change in your life. Like you change, you want things differently. You're trying to achieve different things on your head, things on your mind, things in your head. So it's a lot of changes. So for each of you to keep up with those changes in sex drive, it's almost like an impossible task. But they had a very high sex drive till I felt like I was being sexualized. So it was like, well, you see all them other things you're doing, I don't need you to do all that. I just want you to focus on this. Well, okay, best we just pay for a prostitute then. That's how it felt. That was my response. My mouth hot. So if you're coming at me with chippiness, I will come back. I'll be like, well, all right, well, your best, all the other stuff, if you don't want it, best we just take money and pay for somebody. So when you're ready for them, you could just get them and you could just leave me alone. Because basically, in a way, yeah, it could be considered a kind of
objectifying
abusive,
as well.
But objectifying. But I guess is if that person knows that they're objectifying you, they just think that they have a high sex drive, or they just want sex from you because whatever attraction they have. But then it's how you as the person feel. So trying to convey that sometimes is a bit hard. And I guess if you start off, like I said, you're younger and you go through a long-term relationship. If you start off, often and, excitement and whatever, that in itself could change. And similar to Marsha, I've had medical issues as well, where, you feel really low, you don't feel desirable, like Super Trini said. And it's a lot, it's just so much. And I feel guys as well, Zai hit it on the head. A lot of them, they don't seem to understand intimacy. They only understand sex, the act of sex. So the intimacy is different. The intimacy is different. The intimacy is throughout the day, or the hour before you go and lie down, or whatever it is. Like it has so many other things that you could do to create that atmosphere. And I didn't feel like that atmosphere is being created. So I wasn't getting my needs met. So therefore I was like, well, I know in the mood. Because why in the mood for what? I had to say, what you think I'm a light switch, just come put it on and then you take it off after, and I said, like, so it's those kind of things for me that I experienced. The person is not a bad person. The person wasn't treating me bad. It's not like that. It's just within their actions, it's how I felt. So I had to start to look at how I wanted to be treated. So when I flipped it and I said, listen, this is not happening anymore, their conversation was like, well, this could only go down one road, obviously cheating. So obviously, if that happens, it's my fault. Then.
But I'm kind of concerned on the language that you use of harassment, and you say,
it felt like that.
I never felt like harassed, even though a woman might be initiating and approaching me. I never felt it as harassment. I've never turned it from a negative perspective.
Men never do, because it's
how you would deem it as harassment.
Right, but you know why it felt like harassment as well as because I wasn't getting anything else. I wasn't getting the hugs, the kisses, the the rose, the whatever, the creation. I wasn't getting that.
So why was you in a relationship?
Before, right? It could have been taught the sex education.
Exactly.
That comes down to women being more emotional, right? For women, sex is more
Yes.
we
sex is
can't
more
say
linked with
that.
emotion. So
Yeah.
if they're not in an emotional state to be sexual, it's
Yeah.
difficult for them to engage. That's
Yeah.
what I understand, you know.
To feel,
Um,
yeah, to feel like we
For
want
some
to,
women, yes.
For some
yeah,
women, yes, I will agree. But some women, nah, savage.
And then again, it comes back to what you all said initially, which is the communication, because it seems now that
yeah.
was there that initial conversation to say, hey, this is how I want us to engage in this thing that will benefit the both of us, because naturally, if he has a high sex drive and he's always ready to go,
Hmm.
if he doesn't know how to get you to his level, then you will never meet or you'll never land.
And there
So,
was endless information from me, like, oh, should we try this?
yes, and
So you
that's
were
the thing.
communicating then, okay.
I agree with
Yeah, yeah.
Marsha. You know, you need to be equally yoked sexually. You know what I mean? Because eventually, if you desire certain or a different level or you want to explore sexuality different to what your partner is prepared to, you might become frustrated at some point that, hey,
Hmm.
man, you know, I want
Exactly.
to try these things and you get annoyed whenever I suggest these things. So you can eventually run into some sort of
Exactly.
you know, some sort of argument or something at some stage. You
But
might
staying on
step
the same
out.
level is not really sustainable.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna drop at some point. Somebody's
Yes.
gonna be higher. It's
Yeah,
not.
that comes down to maturity too,
Yeah,
you know, and
it's
where
gonna
you
be a
are in your
season
life.
of it.
Because when you're young, when you're a teenager and you're in your 20s, you don't care about who coming down and going up. When you want it, you want it. You
Right.
know, but
Hmm.
as we get older and we tend to understand life and understand yourself and relationships a bit more,
That's true.
you just become a bit more flexible with certain things, you know.
But then again,
Yeah.
we have to ask ourselves, how flexible is flexible? But before we answer
Mm.
that, let's hear from Nai. Nai, have you ever been in a situation where the man is not, meeting you at the halfway line appropriately, like in a relay race, or is he lagging behind, or are you lagging behind in the mood stimulating factor?
Uh,
Why everybody laughing? Did I ask the question?
Ah, the way she laughed there. Says it all.
Mama,
Remember,
uh,
this is a
she's
safe
so
place.
proud.
She
Yeah.
have stories.
She started
Yes.
flipping to the scrapbook there. She started
Yeah, I remember that
how,
time.
how,
That time,
how should I make this
2009.
PG? How should I make this PG? I wonder. No, only joking. I've been in a scenario where, and it's the only time actually where it's the only time I've been in this scenario where I wasn't in the mood, and it was because how I was made to feel, how I was, like Lisa pointed out earlier, it's about intimacy, it's about the hugs, the kisses, the just that sort of one-on-one, like the affection, it's the build up, and unfortunately, the individual was more about obviously doing the do, and it was a case of um certain things that was said that made me feel rather uncomfortable. So things like, oh, moaning about obviously the last time that we may have, been intimate, and it might have been, let's say, 6 weeks ago. So that's a considerable length of time, to be fair.
Yes.
But, what did you do as the individual? Yes, it's a two-way thing, but what did you do to
It's a
make
two-way
me feel want
thing.
to be in the mood? You
It's a
know,
two-way thing.
you're in a mood. You've got a high sex drive. That's great. That's nice. But what's about my sex drive? What's about putting me into the mood, getting me into the mood, and things like that? Being intimate, being caring, and just all the nice stuff that goes with it. He was more about the act, and more about the act because he wanted to go to sleep.
Oh
He
my
wanted to
goodness,
put
that was
to
the same thing
sleep.
like me.
right?
That,
So it
I
was kind of
forgot
like,
about that.
I need
They're
to bust
twinning,
a
they're
nut
twinning.
to go to sleep. Now, when you, as the woman, the person on the receiving end, is hearing, "Oh, what, we're not doing it often, blah blah blah," and I'm having trouble sleeping, and I just want to bust a nut and go to sleep.
And it's your fault.
Would you want to sleep with that person?
No.
No,
Would
in that case, he should have just go to the toilet and masturbate.
No, boy, no, it don't work so. They want it they wanted a specific way.
Specific way. Now that
Yeah.
beckons the question to say, and this is leading into the next topic now of how do we appreciate and communicate the different appetites and the changes in the sexual appetites when we are with our partners. Because if your partner has a high sex drive and they've developed this high sex drive or they've always had it and you are not able to meet them there, why are you always expecting them to come down to you or to pull you up? When are you going to be able to, within yourself, stimulate yourself to say, you know what, I want to meet you here as well? Because
I get that, and this is why I say it's a two-way thing.
Yes,
So
it seemed like a lot of
Sex drive.
ladies.
Do you also speak about the willingness to explore sexuality on different levels? Because that's two completely different things, right? Because there could be one person who just willing to have missionary sex, but 5 times a day, missionary. But then the other partner might want to explore the different types.
Whips and chains.
You know what I mean?
Boring,
then,
yeah. Boring, yeah.
When you tie her up
Yeah,
and hang her like a chandelier.
So it's just what are we
And that's all they call
talking
it, boring,
about?
yeah.
I don't want to call anybody boring, because everybody
That's
has
the song.
a...
I was singing a song.
Oh,
I was
okay,
singing a
yes.
song.
But some girl might be boring. It is what it is.
It is
I
what
don't
it
want to
is.
say
Yeah.
everybody is boring,
Some man
because
boring
everybody...
too. Plenty people boring.
Yeah,
Let me
because
give you an idea. Let me give
One
you.
man's boring is another man's freakiness. It's
Let me
relative.
put some context into it, right?
Right?
When you chat up a woman, right? When you see a nice girl and you want to meet she, and you chat she up. For that very first moment that you chatting she up, you don't care if she's a freak or if she's a boring girl. You just want to get in there, right? But now you decide, yo, let me build and start this relationship, and then you realize that she not really on your level. She just want to stay righty. After a while, you become frustrated because it's like, well, I thought you would, be willing to try certain
Or
different things.
graduate. Maybe they didn't graduate.
They're not graduating. Yeah, they
Yeah,
keep
they
failing in the
keep
same
going.
class all the
Yeah.
time. No, you as a tutor now, you
But
frustrated.
that's
You
your
want to change
expectation,
school.
though. But that's your expectation. If she was happy
I
where
was
she
just
is,
going to say that.
if she's happy where she is, if she's comfortable where she is, you understand me? And you are facilitating her comfort to a certain extent. But in your head, you wanna help her graduate, right? But you say to her, girl, let me try, and she's like, well, I could where I is, What are you gonna do then? You're gonna say, well,
That's
we're
where the
gonna
honesty.
take your
That's
things
where
and
the
go.
honest. That's where honesty without aggression comes in to place. You know what I mean? You have to tell her straight. Listen, I'm this type of person. I want to
Yeah, but
try different things.
you telling her that is not going to change her.
It wouldn't, but this is where the decision will have to be made, because what you don't want to happen is 10 years later, 5 years later, you now decide, I don't want to be with this person because she's boring. I prefer to find her out very early, and let me decide if we're going to be separate ways, because I don't want to live with regrets. I refuse to live with regrets. So if sex is a big topic and you just stay in there because that one person, good way she is, for the sake of, I want to be with you for the sake of it, whatever, and then later down, you're frustrated, I can't take this no more.
That's one of the reasons why, when I talk to my younger brothers and them, right, and they're in relationships and so forth, one of the things I kind of emphasize is communication. Be straight up with a woman, let her know what your needs are. Don't try to pretend you're something else just to get the sex and then you want to change up afterwards. And likewise with women. Sometimes a woman know what they need in a relationship. And I know plenty of women who are bisexual, but they don't tell their man that right away when they first meet them. You understand? Once in a while they dibble and dabble. So now they're in a committed relationship with this man, and now she's willing to explore. And the man, for whatever reason, maybe religious, maybe cultural, maybe, stereotypes, he's unwilling to explore, and now she's disgruntled or whatever the case may be, because she was never honest with the man from the get-go. What is her sexual needs? What make her happy? What she needs in a relationship? And that opens the door for a lot of conflict down the line.
And that
but I
also,
think women have it that they always think men always want, they fine. They would, yeah, that's fine. So she probably thought, yeah, he gonna be
Not
fine.
always,
He gonna mind.
Not always.
I think
And that
that's
also,
I think
that
women
also
think like that.
stems on from another conversation we had in the last hot sauce, where
I was just thinking that.
the woman said that to her husband, listen, I don't enjoy sex with you no more. It's not
Yep.
pleasurable, it hurts.
Yeah.
And she prefers woman to woman sex. And the husband said,
Yeah.
you know what? All right, cool. That's the case.
Yeah, I was given that example. Yeah.
For the sacrificial commitment to the family unit, I will move downstairs in the basement. So I'm still a part of the household. I will live downstairs in the basement, and you and your woman can live in the main family unit house, and the children will be there. And we will just explain to them that, listen, mommy and daddy are still together, but mommy has a girlfriend that is there to meet her needs.
I don't
It's
think
just different. It's just different type. No, it's different types of relationships.
Brother, hold on, no, you
That's
can't.
not happening.
One second. No,
Well, it happening with them.
But that is what you're saying. And the woman
It
was
happening with them.
the woman did that, and the man was accepting of it. He said, you know what? Okay, I love you so much. I will facilitate this because I don't want to ruin the family unit. And the children at the time were young. I think they were all under 16. So for the sake of protecting the family unit,
So
fine.
you
Enough. Remember, hold on. But before I let y'all come back in again, a lot of family units stay together in worse situations where there's actual physical abuse, and the man and the woman stick together for the sake of the children. So you can't say no, that not right. When people are stick together where physical abuse is happening,
So
and they're making it
from
work,
what
children get a certain age, and then it's like, well, you know what, divorce can go on, because we've raised our children to the best of our ability.
all right, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm taking from what you're saying is that if you can't satisfy your partner, it comes to a point where you should be okay with them seeking satisfaction elsewhere.
To an extent, it all depends on you, because it's like what was said earlier. If you can't do certain things for your partner, you can either choose to add another person into the relationship, or you can choose to add another instrument into the relationship. It's all depending on the conversation.
Like a rose.
And even with that rose tie that people are lamenting about, no, there's some pros and cons to it. So, like what you said earlier, Pajo, you need to discuss what works for you. And if that's something that is discussed early on enough, or you feel comfortable enough, like Nai was saying, like Lisa was saying earlier, it's that level of comfort, that intimacy that Super Chin was mentioned, where it's like we have this conversation, we have this bond now where I can share how I'm feeling now with you. Because remember as well, a lot of us forget that after a while, the person's appetite, their intimacy appetite, as well as their sexual appetite, changes over time. So how they were when they met you on the boat ride in Barbados, when they were bambing. It's different when you all live in a 3-bedroom apartment in New York, in Madison Square Garden. It's very different. And then also, it might be a thing where you take her on holiday to Guyana for the first time, and y'all are having a passionate session by that amazing waterfall in having Guyana. Forgive me, I've forgotten the name.
Sure.
Yeah, it just depends on where.
That's real mosquito like.
So,
Love bite.
So,
love bite.
Without the sea wall, isn't it?
So, without straying too far from the topic as well, I feel like we need to bear that in mind. Yeah, go ahead, Super Trini.
I want to draw on what Miss Ponderosa was Timothy Ponderosa, because I had the waterfall. Sorry, Miss Ponderosa. Sorry, because I had the waterfall. In terms of, I've been in a situation where my partner at the time, she had medical issues, right? So I was incredibly understanding that she wouldn't be in that position or whatever. But the flip side to that, on a man's side perspective, is that she would still then say, oh, do you not find me attractive? Do you not want to be with me? Do you not want to sleep with me? And you're like, well, ring the bell when that time has come so I could do that. You understand? Because
But
I
that's
have
their
to go. You know,
insecurity, isn't it?
if it is you're there and you're in so much pain and so much discomfort, and I'm trying to figure out a way to pacify that situation. I'm not even thinking about the sexual. I'm thinking about the intimacy side of making sure you're okay. But then you're still put in a position where it is you're now then being told, oh, you're doing this, or you're cheating on me, or you're looking at other people. And I'm like, at what point do you then, as women, turn and say, wait a minute, I should really like understand from his perspective that I'm not 100%. You understand me? And I need to figure out a way how to engage with him in that capacity, that romantic capacity, you know,
So,
regardless of what is going on in terms of me physically. You understand?
so
And that's where it is you would understand the
let
measure
me get
of
to that
how
quickly
it
as
is
well.
how they would empathize with you within the relationship. You know, so when Miss Bonnie was talking about that, it hit home, Gil. It hit home to the point where it is I felt like there was nothing I could do right. You understand? Because you was in a position where you care about this person so much. You can see how much it is they're suffering and they're in discomfort. And yet still they find the time, they find the energy to fight with you about sexual
Fight, you
issues.
know.
No, I'm telling you, to fight with you,
Yeah.
to come at you. They have so much energy for that, but they won't use their energy to engage with you on a loving way and say, you know what? I need to figure out how it is I can be with my man or comfort my man or be there for him. And when it is we was talking about the logical and the emotional side of that, right? The logical side is a man will be like, boy, what we do? And the other friends might say, boy, well, if she can't do it, you know, you have to talk to she and ask her, you know, if it's okay for you to
But
step
here,
out the door or
watch
whatever.
this now. So here now. So in that now is what I want to draw back to the example that Lisa gave, where she said, "Oh, she was sleeping down from her partner and avoiding him." If now you're saying as well switching it, there's a suggestion. Okay, if you're not physically able to indulge in the act, right? Cool. You have apparatuses. So, ladies, if your man wants to bust a nut, so to speak, and go to sleep, and you want to hug up after your bust your nut or whatever, your hand work, don't it? You can just give him a massage in certain places, you
Neck,
know.
neck for me, neck for
Massage
me.
the neck, massage any one of the heads you choose to massage, but massage one of them. Find the right one to massage and massage it, and you're both happy because you're ensuring that's again engaging in intimacy because you're close together, you're communicating in a way that results in a benefit to the both of you, and he
Oh,
can
my
say
hand
straight,
tired.
Sir
hold on,
Influencer,
hold on, hold
have
on,
you
hold on.
noticed the facial expression of the female panelists?
My hand
Yeah,
tired.
When you
yeah.
said that,
Tired?
the whole
My
facial
hand
expression
tired.
just
Yes,
changed.
yes, that's good, and I'm not surprised it's changing because or it is changing because that is how women. This is where it's emotion versus logic. Because, like Switchy said, the logical thing to do would be to find a solution. For
Yeah, we got
example,
a hand job. Is
hold
that
on,
It's your problem, so
hold
you
on,
got to
hold
find
on,
your
hold on, hold
solution.
on, please,
Why? Lisa, Lisa
please.
went
If you're
It's
there.
not
your
going to,
problem,
if you're not
so
going
you
to
got to
do it,
find your solution.
but then you're being a
Because
hypocrite.
if man's so logical and they like to fix things, when you tell them you have a problem and they like to fix, well, fix your own problem.
That's besides the point.
No,
You've defeated the purpose of the bond of the intimacy which you're
no,
asking for.
what
no,
your hand
no, no.
job? What
Because when
Hold
intimacy?
on,
I
now. You
no,
see,
because when I
y'all refusing to see
no,
it from the
because
man's
I'm not
point of
getting my
view.
needs met. So
Truly,
therefore
why
you
you?
will be
Exactly. My
getting
hands are
nothing.
not even
Hold on,
me.
so
My
hold
hand
on.
don't want nothing. My hand don't. It's could be tired. I don't understand. How I benefit from having a tired
Marsha,
hand.
you
Your
trying to
hand
understand?
tired. Your hand
Marsha, you
always
trying
tired.
to understand?
Your hand always
Okay,
tired. You have two
can
hands.
I
You have a
can
round.
I interject?
My
Yes,
business.
please,
Look
nine.
nice.
Interject,
Look
nine,
nice.
please.
Right. Let me interject. The thing is, right, what we okay, not that we're forgetting it, but obviously Zai did touch on it earlier. It is actually down to communication, right? So I would rather my man try and find the root cause of what's causing me to not have the appetite that he wants me to have in the first place. And the issue,
hold on a minute. Why
right?
must he try to find out? Why can't you express
Because
what the root cause is?
And you
Why make
see,
the
that
man
is
work?
why we
This is
would
a
always
breakdown
have
to
problems.
communication right there.
That is why we would always have problems.
Okay, but he wasn't allowing
Because
me
you waiting
to
for her and she
explain that.
waiting for you.
Right. But he wasn't
How was he
allowing me
not
to
allowing
explain that.
you?
He wasn't interested in anything I had to say about the
Exactly.
topic of conversation. Because as far as he's
Exactly.
concerned, I'm not getting it enough. I've got a high sex drive. You need to sort me out.
You're the
So I
problem.
can bust enough
Exactly.
and go to sleep. My thing is like, well, what caused me to feel this way in the first place? Because I had a good appetite at the beginning of the relationship, and then there was actually a medical issue in the middle of our relationship. Sort of, yeah, in the middle of our relationship, I had a medical issue that I had to deal with,
Fine.
and that did actually interrupt my appetite.
Okay.
You know,
I understand that.
and.
But that is a different thing to what
No,
Super
that was
Trini
a
said.
different thing. That was a
So,
different thing. And then, but it did take some time, to kind of get over that
fine.
situation.
But
Later down the line, when it came to now, everything's sort of back to normal and everything, he made me feel a type of way, a bit like what Lisa was saying earlier, like like maybe a sexualized being rather
Well,
than just
probably because he
human
had all that
being.
pent up stuff on layaway.
Right?
When it is he wasn't able to, he had all that on layaway. So he was trying to get up to speed with what he
And
wasn't able
offload.
to do.
And offload on me.
I feel like
And offload
Well,
me.
because
no,
remember,
I just saying it from that point of view. He might have said, "Boy, I patiently waited. Now I had a,
No, I get that, but the problem is the communication was so bad because he's not listening to what I'm saying. He's not taking on board how I feel. He's not making me feel in a way that I would want to do the act with him in the first place. You know what I mean? He's not making me feel like, loved and all these things that goes into a relationship, that goes into
Because there's always a reason why. As I said earlier, there's always a reason why.
And the wrong choice of words been coming out. How can you say to a woman, I just want to bust a nut and go to sleep?
Yeah.
And that's literally it. I don't care if you're enjoying it. I don't care if you're satisfied. I don't actually care if you bust a nut or not yourself. I need to bust my nut and I need to go to sleep.
Exactly.
So he was selfish.
And imagine
lover
getting that
anyway.
3-4 times a week. You're hearing that. Imagine
right, we heard that. But you guys are straying from the topic, from the bit of the conversation that Trini Vibes is mentioning. We've already discussed that with you guys earlier. Let's bring it back to what he said. He said this particular situation now, where the woman is able to do something, right? And she is saying to him, do you find me attractive? Do you find this? Do you find that? So she is seeking sexual gratification still. She wants the reassurance that, hey,
no, she's seeking validation for her insecurities. That has nothing to do with sexual validation.
Let me finish because that's what he was talking about. So if in the communication, in you guys' circumstance that you mentioned, the man was being oblivious and arrogant or ignorant to the fact that, hey, you're in a tender position now. And now a man is being tender to your tender situation, and you are now responding with a sense of insecurity. Why don't you respond in a more logical way and say, all right, cool. Well, if you're giving me this tenderness and this affection, how can I return the energy in a way to you that will...
Let me jump in there, right?
Go on.
A man could only reassure a woman to a certain point about
I said that.
How she feels about herself, right? Yeah. It takes her to find that true, I look good, because there's many times we will try our best to make our woman feel she's the best thing in the world. But her confidence might be knocked by another friend or someone else somewhere else, other factors. Now, why should we, or how can we as men, because I could only speak from a man's perspective, what else could we as a man do to try and reassure her even more?
No. Ask the question you want to ask. Ask the question you was gonna ask. Why is it your responsibility? Ask the question you was gonna ask.
No, but you have to
Change the
listen to
question.
everything that I was
Because
saying.
that's the
We
question you
already,
asked earlier.
no, no. You have to listen to what I'm saying. We
No, that's
already,
the question he asked earlier. He asked,
right?
why
Yeah,
is
but
it
listen
your
to my point.
problem,
Listen
right?
to my point. My point
To help
is,
her. That was the
right,
question he was
but listen
asking
to my
earlier.
point. We already are doing the best that we can do to reassure her. But if she's getting knocked, her confidence is being knocked by external factors. And regardless of what we are doing as a partner, it's not helping. Where does that leave us as the man? There's
You know
nothing
what it
else we
is?
can do.
Because you're not speaking the same language that she wants you to speak. You want to
No,
do it
she
the way you
wants
want to
her
do
to
it.
tell her what she
When
wants
you
to
use that
do.
word once,
That
right?
could be an issue. That could be an
Lisa,
issue.
but when you use
You
the
doing
word
it in the
once,
way that
right?
you know how to do it.
Lisa,
Nah,
She
but when
might
you use
want
the
it in
word
a
once,
different
Lisa,
it's
way.
harder.
one second, guys, one voice, please.
Yeah.
So, Audrey, you said
Oh, go on.
something. Lisa, you've responded.
Yeah.
Trini Vibes jumping, and then I want to hear from Miss Ponder Road, please, because she's been waiting patiently. So, Trini Vibes, say what you're saying quickly, and then please, Miss Ponder Road.
Yeah. Super Trini, you was talking, you were saying.
Oh no, let Pondy Road go. I have my thing right down here already.
All right.
Don't worry.
You have your
Ponder Road,
notebook.
please.
And I definitely want to
Jesus,
interject too as well. Go on.
And
No,
Pondy Road,
yeah.
go ahead.
all I was going to say is going back to Super Trini Vibe, the scenario that he described. So a situation like that, you know, where maybe sexual contact is out the window, okay, and that maybe that was the only time that intimacy was shown. So now that's out, now that's taken out the picture. I can see why maybe some ladies may feel like, oh my god, start to feel a bit insecure. But on the whole, that whole dynamic of you getting it constantly thrown back in your face, unfortunately, I'm a woman, and I honestly do believe that comes from the woman herself. Like, you have to know your own worth. Yeah, if you go with a man that's blatantly putting you down, constantly degrading you, gaslighting you, making you feel less than worthy, then there's definitely the issue there. But if you've got a man that's not doing those things, and you know, from any scenario, you have this insecurity about you, whether it's with your partner, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, you are just in that type of mindset, that type of way, then it does come from within. And it's easier to blame somebody else to say, well, you're not making me feel like this. And it's easier to do that than it is to actually accept, well, actually, you know what? It's actually me, because I seem to have an issue with everything.
Let me stop you there 1 second. That is exactly the point Pajo is making. The external factors is what I'm speaking on, and saying, hey, why are you letting the external factors weigh more than me, who is in the house here with you, who is in this relationship with you?
And as a good man, that can put pressure on the man now. Because if you constantly rejecting the man because you have issues with your confidence, that man might retract into a shell and say, you know what? I'm not gonna touch you. If every time
I call it back against the wall. I call it back against the wall.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
You can see everything that's coming at you because you're safe with your back on the wall. You understand me? That's what I would call it.
Yeah. Miss Ponder Road, continue if you weren't finished, please.
No, I was just saying that it does come from that individual person.
And then Zaya.
You know, but obviously there are people in situations where they are with a partner, be male and female, and that person is constantly degrading them and making that feel that way. And I think in society today, people get so caught up in their immediate emotion or immediate how they feel. And like, you could be in a good, solid relationship, things, but you're not in that mood today. Your hormones are high, or you're on medication. You've had a bad day, and you just get caught up in that moment. I know it's hard, but those are not the times that you need to be reacting and be like saying, "Well, do you love me? Because I saw you like this girl's picture."
So that's what happens. That's what happens.
But that's what happens. Yeah.
That is what happens, because it's a transference. It's a transference of that feeling within yourself that, you know what, I don't want to feel this way by myself. You know? I had to bring the ship going down, but I've taken somebody with me.
All right.
Nah, man. Nah.
One second.
That's why
Zaya,
I wrote through.
Miss Ponder Road, are you finished?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
All right. Zaya, come through now, please, brother.
One thing I learned from my experience, that you always try to make a woman feel desired. It's not about the sexual activity. You don't have to pursue it. But first thing in the morning, I'm going to compliment how beautiful you are, even though your face not done or whatever the case may be before we go to bed. I'm going to compliment you throughout the day. I'm constantly going to reassure you how beautiful you are. But I've learned from the years that I cannot boost your self-esteem. Self-esteem has to come from self. And until you're ready to be in that relationship where you're confident and you're sure about yourself, it may not be the best thing to enter into a relationship because you're still issues. So that has happened sometime where, regardless for what happened, I just put it out there. Dark-skinned women, very beautiful. I love dark-skinned women. But I find over the years that sometimes even when I'm dating a dark-skinned woman, some of them are still insecure about their complexion. Growing up as a child, being called black this, or you black this, or you dark this, and sometimes they still kind of harbor some type of animosity and feeling sometimes, even though they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're stunning, the whole world can see they're beautiful, it's kind of hard for them to find beauty in themselves. And we all know that's because of the media and this and the propaganda. But sometimes I've learned that no matter how I try, I cannot boost your self-esteem. It really has to be an internal project where you have to boost your self-esteem.
I have a question. Enough respect, Zaya. Enough respect for that. Enough respect. I have a question where that is concerned, because obviously we're drawing more on how women react, right? But if a man tells you no, he's not in the mood or whatever, as women, how would you all take that? If it's something that happening constantly, would you all think that, oh, he's going through something? Or would you think that, oh, he's sleeping with somebody else? Or would you think, oh, he just doesn't want to be with me?
Right.
What would be the initial reaction where that is?
Right.
You understand? Because like from a man's perspective, you all want us to desire all you. But from a woman's perspective, if a man thought, no, girl, nah, I don't want anything. I get
for the negative straight away. You get the questions come back. Am I not
I
attracted to you?
want the ladies to interject there and respond, because I think to balance it off, it's a very poignant thing.
It's a valid point, and obviously as a one-off, everyone's allowed to be tired, have an off day. Come on, all human beings, that's fine. If it was something that was happening consistently, and also the dynamic of relationship, do you live together? Are you married? Do you have kids? Blah blah. All those things factors come into play. Is it your man that he lives down the road, or he just lives like 400 miles away? Like all these different countries, all these things come into play. So it would be like, if you're in a close relationship living together, you should be able to see if his patterns change, not change. Is he well? Is he ill? So I don't think it's just straight away off the bat. Is he cheating? Does he find me attractive?
No, it's not that. Exactly, it's not.
Yeah, we're not that simple. Like, you know what I mean? We don't
that's mad. That is mad vibes. That is mad.
You understand? Yeah, like, I have to look at my man all the time, but I see him looking tired or whatever. The first thing I'm saying, I'm thinking, well, is something going wrong down there? Like, what's going on? Because he could be having problems down there, but he just feels uncomfortable to share that with me. Or sometimes a lot of men don't actually like going to the doctors to go and get themselves checked out. They're trying to just go on, like, it will just disappear overnight and stuff like that. So it could be a myriad of things. I think, yes, it would be just to ask, on a neutral plane, not when he's just said no and be like, one day you have to just say, like, when we're on neutral ground, we're just out shopping, where there's no pressure, like a little tune, like.
Don't see when we're out shopping, because the last time we spoke about, the first time we did this, we spoke about talking in public, and we can't talk in the aisle with the carrots. Giselle, I'm not letting you slide with that. So we can't talk about that.
In the car on the way to the shop, okay?
No, not in no car, because I want nobody crash no car with me.
Oh God, you lot are so bad. No,
have a conversation over.
No, why is that comment there?
Look, somebody said once he's on the soca scene, he's cheating. Somebody said once he's on the soca scene, he's cheating.
But listen, but definitely, I feel like it's very interesting hearing the difference in the receptiveness of the dynamics between us. Because, and shout out again to all of our listeners viewing in, silent watchers, and the viewers leaving the comments. And again, this is the Hot Sauce brought to you by Carnival Slayers right here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and of course share this video. And of course, big up all the panelists. So it's very interesting how when women use logic, because this is now women using logic that we say they don't have, but they have it.
Logic is overrated.
So they're selective with their logic.
It's
Hold on.
Logic is overrated.
I don't want
Pick up
I want to take each comment bit by bit. So, Nai, please jump in as well and give us your take on that now. When the man has denied you, if there's ever been that time like that, because I feel like every woman has had a moment where she's been denied by the man, and it's been when she's really wanted it. So, what got you to that moment where you wanted it, and why did he deny you, if you ever were told or found out?
Well, I can only say touch wood. To date, that's never happened to me. So I'm.
I don't know about that. Only fellas believe that. Only really believe that.
Cook the lie.
Remember, it's Island State, so it's true before the degree of spice.
Now trying to say she irresistible.
Right.
Moving
Remember, when you get the Slayer experience, you can't really deny the experience.
So you have
Stevie. But continue.
And if you don't know, check out Zombie. Padro's video. Innit, Padro?
Padro drinking water like water.
I go drink water and I
minding his business.
See, I'm promoting the thing. I'm promoting the video. You get me?
I like that.
All right, then.
I like that, Justin.
Yes.
I like that plug. Y'all go watch it out on YouTube.
All right. Well, back to the question. What did I do?
But again,
I feel, you know what? When I really look at it on the flip side, I can see why you guys said, oh, we've got selective logic and all of that. I can see why you lot said that. So you know what? Fair enough, innit? You're right.
Hold on. Say it again. Say it again.
No, Karen,
and I can accept why you gentlemen, lovely gentlemen this evening, have said that we as women clearly have selective logic. So yes, I put my hands up.
Maybe going to screen record this back on YouTube and watch you put it in
right.
story.
Ladies, you can cuss me later. But they have got a point. Because when I really deep it, if my man was to turn and deny me, right, and I guess on a regular basis, oh gosh, what is this now?
Don't post that up. My God, don't get distracted.
I'm calling him. No!
Don't call your name. Focus. This is what happened. Hold on. Having a conversation, and you get a text message come through on your phone, and you expect the man now to keep carrying the conversation.
Right. All I'm saying is, I think I would actually be feeling that type of way. But the thing is, what I would actually do is I would try and communicate with my man, which is what someone said in the chat earlier, a donor. Communication is key, which is what I've been saying from the very beginning of this conversation. Communication is the key, okay? So I'll be trying to communicate with my man. I'll be making him feel, I'll just be going extra with him. I will go the extra mile, I'll be like, okay, he's probably not 100%. Maybe there's something going on downstairs, so let me try and discover. Yeah. So I'm going to communicate with him. I'm going to try and discover what the problem could be,
Let me add to that.
And
So say if you had a
yeah, I
medical
would try and spice,
operation too.
but I would even go the extra mile to spice things up. That's what I would do.
If he had, hold on. Say if he had a medical condition. Say if he had a medical condition too, and he wasn't functional for a while, because you ladies mentioned that earlier.
Okay, he's not functional.
Hold on. Hello, don't rush the road. Take time on the road. Right. How would you spicing up things? Because when I suggested for you to use other apparatus, i.e. your hand, you say your hand was tired.
My hand is not the apparatus.
No, my hand is not tired all the time. I'm trying to say.
Hold on. That's what I'm saying. Your hand was tired.
No,
my hand is not no apparatus. Mash, that's the she hand tired. Mine is not no apparatus.
That's the point I was making. How does my hand benefit more than they get tired? My hand doesn't benefit tired.
You see, you're missing the but then you're contradicting.
Influential. You sorry, you said.
Yeah. You're negating what Na is saying. Na is saying, yo, if in that particular situation, I will do my best. I'll go the extra mile to spicing things up. So why are you only doing it in that particular small moment? Why are you not thinking that way all throughout? Why am I not both thinking that way?
Oh, no.
Needed all throughout.
No.
Needed in this particular situation.
No. With this particular situation, yeah, I'll be definitely on my P's and Q's. You understand? I generally am on my P's and Q's usually. But sometimes you can slip up.
But there's a dangerous part to that though. There's a really dangerous part.
Yeah, because they get complacent.
No, not that. That's not the only dangerous part. The dangerous part is if it is you and your partner not connecting sexually, right? And then you decide to do something to up the game, right? Mm-hmm. To rope them back in. If it is you're having difficulty in the relationship on a whole, and say, I want to break or I want to separate or whatever, and the only thing that keeps you all together is sex or sexual interaction. And then you're really when it is you all come back into that relationship where everything is good, and then it subsides and it goes back to wherever it was before. That's a real dangerous place to be, because that person's gonna be like, oh, they're only doing this. They're only doing this to make sure I don't go elsewhere, or they're only doing this so that they can to salvage the relationship. But then why just do it to salvage the relationship? What are you gonna then do to enrich the relationship and take it to the next level?
But this is why I said earlier, this whole trying to keep up with sex drive it's not sustainable. It's not.
Yeah, but for us as
there's no coming try.
People, we know that. But the younger generation,
you have to be willing to sustain every aspect of the relationship. So you can't say
it's not sustainable.
You can't say it's not sustainable.
It's not.
You cannot say that. You have to be willing to try and sustain every aspect of the relationship.
Don't tell me I can't. I've just said it. I have said it.
Listen to the doctor.
I don't feel that it's not something that you could keep there all the time. It will go up, it will go down, it will go up, it will go down. It's not something that can just be like that. It's just like the relationship.
I would say that
most of the time it reflects where the relationship is.
There's a base. There's always a level that both of you all would start from and comfortable at. And then some people will hit a different peak. This person will hit a different peak. And what you do within those moments, when you're back at base level, is what defines your connection with that person in terms of being intimate as well as being sexual with that person. For me personally, it's more the intimacy than the sexual, right? Because it leaves a much lasting impression as opposed to just, boom, you do the thing, if you choose to sleep, whatever. You understand me? But it's the connection in the relationship, which would, you can tap over if you whatever it is, yes? Whatever it is, put your hands up and wave a flag, whatever. But I wanna go back to the point that Nai was making as well. In that, boy, I had some real experiences, but I would say that when you're dealing with the opposite sex, and you turn and for whatever reason, you turn and say, well, it could be no to going on the road to the shop. The response is never one where hey, okay, so you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. How are you feeling? What's going on? That is not, especially for my Caribbean woman. Especially my Caribbean woman. What do you mean you don't want to give me nothing?
But what
So what if you was doing all that then? Why did you want to give me nothing?
You
What's
don't
this right
find me
on here?
attractive. Again, nine out of 10 times their insecurities will show.
What if I
Don't
get
find
what
me,
with it?
don't
He's
find me
fire, watch me,
attractive.
full flame.
What is it?
Full flame will come, and then there will be a little back and forth of argument, or we might just chips and say, watch me, don't me take on this mad woman, let me go and sleep, yes?
Because
Or whatever.
I agree with you.
mad woman?
I agree with you 100%, Karen. It will never be, darling, what's going on?
No.
Talk to me. Are you okay? No. This most of the time the women throw in the suggestions of what the problem is. Oh, you don't find me attractive. Oh, you're cheating. Tell me what's it going on? Something not working down
I don't
there.
speak like that, you know. I don't know who
You
is this
do.
woman, but I don't speak like that.
Lisa, I
I
never
don't think like
said
that,
you to
boys.
speak like
No.
that.
I'm just saying.
When
These
you
women,
put
you
it in
know,
zone,
I said
when you get
90%. You could be in the 10% who don't.
Well, I
Right?
am.
But I have been to
probably.
many situations where the women just go straight to suggesting the problem the man have in the
I'm telling you,
relationship instead of actually
when
asking the question
yeah,
and taking time to listen. And here,
So
this is
y'all
where the
saying you
problem
don't
is
find
come.
woman could
The
handle
problem is
rejection.
come now.
Hold on. Hello. One voice.
Hold, hold
Ajo,
on.
then Miss on the road.
The problem is come now when the man actually is opening up honestly to say what his issues are. Then that is still another problem. The
yep,
women will 9 out of 10 times again get very defensive and you end up in a spiraling recurrent
yep,
decimal. The problem
yep.
never really solved. So
Because there's not open receptors. It's not open receptors to it totally because it's this topic it had real sauce in it. I ain't gonna lie.
yeah, I agree because at the point when the woman is asking the man,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you? You don't find me attractive. What's going on? Because you're not touching me the way you used to. She's already on a high pressure arm. She's already tense. She's already stressed. So she wanna hear something that she wanna hear. And if you ain't saying what she wanna hear is a
Well,
problem.
you see that one part, the exact same thing Lisa said. You see that word want? That's so dangerous because it's a need, right? Is what is needed at that point in time. It's not what you want. It's what is needed at that point in time. And for all the talk we could talk, once we drop in that hot sauce, we don't know what will splash out. If it will burn you, if it is everything will just drop down to the bottom of the pot and you just have to mix it and stir. You don't know because it's only until it is when you're invested
Actually
in that
happen.
relationship or invested in that moment, you don't know what your reaction is going. Because for me as a man, I if a woman did not tell me, well, I don't know what my reaction would be in that moment because my feelings would be hurt at some point. My feelings would feel like, wait, what is really going on here? You understand? And you would come at it sometimes from a very negative way because naturally we on the offensive because we being defensive. You understand? And this is where it is we need to like find that balance where it is the communication is paramount, right? And then the way we deliver when everything settles down, the delivery of what it is bothering on either side of the fence. That is what makes it different in that relationship, either going in separate ways or people nurturing it and you're growing it and you're getting to the next level.
Right.
I just want to say
with
something.
rejection.
Just one thing. Sorry, because I have to run. I have to drop off. But I just want to say in my closing defense, right? Communication is definitely the key. And it comes
It's a
down to
defense,
very
you know.
brutal. It comes to brutal honesty. If all you feel like you set me up here today, I lie, Lisa, stop it, right?
Right. Ajo, before you run off, let's go into the next question quickly before you run off. And it's something that Trini Vibes just touched on quickly, and you both touched on kind of everybody's touching away. What is your definition of a freak then? Like, how do you?
Could I respond first?
Yes, please.
A freak is a term used by a person who's not willing to explore sexuality against a person who's willing to explore sexuality. That's all I have to say.
What dictionary, Ryan?
Right? That's all I have to say.
Take your notes.
The
Take your
person,
notes.
the boring person, in
Boring.
who the boring person's views on the person who willing to explore sexuality is there's a freak. That's the word that is used. But no, that person is just comfortable in their sexuality.
Because that person is actively exploring their sexuality. All right. Thank you very much for that, Pajo.
But,
Miss on the road, what is your definition of on the freak? Pajo, you want to say
thank you
something?
guys for having me. I have to drop off, but
Bye.
It's a
y'all
pleasure.
keep this up. I would love to come back on at another
Check the
stage, but
curry
I'm
chicken.
about to
Check the
try.
curry chicken. Check the
When you're
curry
ready,
chicken.
2 weeks time.
I'm gonna check the curry chicken.
All right.
Don't forget to follow Pajo on our socials as well. Pajo, what's your Instagram? What's your TikTok? What's your Snapchat?
Yeah,
Everything?
y'all follow me everywhere, Pajo Music Official on Instagram, everywhere else, Pajo Music. And remember to vote for me for UK. So come on.
Bless.
Love.
Love.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, love, yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So
Influential. Before we touch on the freak,
yes, go
something
ahead.
Pajo said. I think not Pajo. Super Trini said with you really don't know how you're going to react in that situation until it happens, right?
Yes.
Because it depends on what state of mind you're in, where you're at with your feelings, your emotions, everything. But I feel like we as a people, like human beings, we tend to go to the first thought of, oh shucks, the problem is me. So that means he don't want me. That means she cheating. That means it's me. We tend to do that first, I think. So in the moment where I have had, rejection, I think it was how it was said or how it was done that made me feel that little thought for moment of insecurity. You understand? And because there was cheating previously in the relationship. So I think those are things that circulate in your head. And it's not just, I just get up this morning and I feeling insecure. It's because of stuff that could have happened that created the insecurity, where you're still healing from it within the same relationship. So I think we kind of have to take that into consideration when we kind of rejecting, but
disclaimer,
because remember you love this person, you care for this person, you don't want them to feel bad, but you just want them to understand. So help them understand by the way you say.
Yeah, but you don't want them to. You need them to.
Well, okay, you need them to understand. So if you need them to understand, then you need to find the right way to communicate that to them so that
Need outweighs wants. Need should always outweigh wants.
Because nobody wants to feel rejected. At the end of the day, man, woman, they, them, animal, whatever. Nobody wants to feel rejected.
Play TV show.
You know what I mean? Play TV show.
And especially as a way to further touch on that, I think it's also, again, we are in a what's the word, society or a moment in time, or we have been for quite some time, where it's always the man that is pursuing the woman in every endeavor. So if the man is always pursuing woman in every single endeavor, then your interaction and your desire for interaction and your desire for certain things is also at a skew, because if I'm always having to initiate when we go out on a date, initiate the surprises, initiate the intimacy, initiate the sex, then at some point there's going to be a thing of, well, why are you rejecting it, or why are you denying it, or where's the balance? Which is why I'm a strong advocate for women taking men out on dates. Take your man out on a date sometime, not just Valentine's, not just his birthday. On the anniversary, make sure you buy him something too. Show him, match the energy. And I feel like, again, that is another act of the communication. If you are actively living in love and not just receiving love, you better, interact and transcend that basic level, and it will spill out into better intimacy if you share those things more holistically.
So, influential, we didn't hear your opinion on this topic,
Oh, you want to hear my opinion? No. Oh, wow, thank you. Amazing. So for
seeing that you're living in love now.
So for me, I've been in a situation where it's where the person has we've been on and off, and it's always been a case of, okay, you've gone to somebody else, you've tasted other wine, but then you're coming back here, and then after a while now it's like, well, why do you keep coming back here? if you're constantly going to taste other wine elsewhere, what is happening with the other wines there that is not satisfying you? Because clearly you're not getting the satisfaction that you want. So is it because those other men are not wanting to be with you? They're just using the situation and say, okay, well, yeah, you look nice, you're sexy. We've done our thing. Yeah, they might kiss you better, do the act better. They create the intimacy, they create the mood. But then at the end of the day, after a while, it doesn't get to anything more because they don't want you in that way. But then you now are happy to go to that way with them. But it's like it becomes a friends with benefits, or you find out that hey, them have next woman, and then you're coming back to the guy that is happy and content with just doing solo. And then also you have a situation where, again, like you said, just cheating or there's manipulation, because everybody likes to say, oh, you're in a situationship. So it's not a relationship where there's no complete obligation to you, but the person might say something like, oh, if I find out that you're doing anything with any other woman on this trip, there's going to be a massive problem. But then they end up doing something on the trip with another man, and then they don't think you're going to find out. So then that manipulation in a situation is like, how do you heal from that? How easy is it to heal from that? And then when you see certain, like we said, patterns occurring where now, okay, you're becoming distant again, you're not in the mood again, you don't want to kiss, you don't want to hug for whatever reason, that it is this time, but it's happened before. And this is what I tried to explain. I said, if the reason for not being in the mood is because you buck your toe, but the last 3 weeks ago you weren't in the mood because you're on your period, and then the time before that you weren't in the mood because you were seeing John down the road, there's a pattern of not being in the mood.
Poor Johns, all Johns all over.
All John. So
we
there's
just call a
different
name. Sorry.
reasons, but the pattern is the thing is the same. It's like, for example, I said, it's like going to work. If you're always late to work, no matter what the reason is, after a while your boss is gonna say to you, yo, we have a problem here because you're always late, whether it's the school run or it's TFL or bomb drop or chicken back. You're always late. There's a
You're late because of chicken back?
Whatever it is. It's still gonna be marked down. It's still gonna be noted. It's still gonna be lodged. It might not be used against you, but it's still noted. It's like, okay, well, you're late. That's the reason why you're late. That's the reason why. So, but at some point, it's still noted. So it's one of those things where, like you said, you have to be mindful of it and say, well, how do we communicate this again? Okay, and there's also another thing, like women get for whatever reason they get into this mood. Oh, they just want to be celibate for whatever reason. They just want to focus. They just want to study. Right. Let's have that conversation.
I'm trying something new.
Yeah, I'm trying something new. They just want to. They're not in the, and they just want to. They don't want any distractions. But then it's like, okay, why
so we already in a relationship and then she decides to be celibate, or this is before she met me?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
when you're in a situationship, relationship, whichever ship it is, there's a mutual understanding of, hey, there should be, or there ought to be, regular acts of sex, regular moments of sex, right? And then for whatever reason, you want to suddenly just change and say, oh yeah, I don't want any distractions. I want to be celibate for a while.
I feel like that in itself is a pressure, boy.
Influential, because
you don't feel like that? Like that
no,
itself, that whole thought of,
is this ladies, always have it
that is
on
already a
different level. Always have it on such a different level, because they will literally just come out the blue and say, yeah, I because you would send a message, or you would say something that would lead down the lines of, hey, so when we do anything or whatever, right? And they will be like, all of a sudden, you get no notification. All you get is, well, I've been thinking about, thinking about me and doing what I need to do for me. You understand me? When the reality is and the responsibility is, you're meant to pick up the phone and say, no. I dealing with somebody, I need to understand that as part of the journey, if it is you're going on that journey for real, that you put your hands up and say, hey, before this person come knocking, I'm going to make sure and let them know that this is where I am now. And that's showing that you're really making that step forward, as opposed to you're hiding
it's a
and
holistic
hoping.
thing.
You know,
it's
you're
not
hiding
just
and hoping that that person,
Exactly.
they might just turn their gaze away from me, so I could just slip under the radar. But it don't work so.
I think
that's
that's
the
a
thing. And
passive
then
aggressive way of dumping a person.
exactly. And then
Talking about
also
she's gonna be celibate, she's going through some things. What she is, she's contemplating whether to give the ex-man another chance.
Yes,
She promised he will change.
Exactly.
And he promised her that he's gonna do better. And she started with you, you know. But this man still is she air once in a while. So now she's confused. So she gotta step back just a little. Let me slow down just a little. Because this man's saying the right thing, and I really love him, you know. But he was messing up before. So that's her passive aggressive way of telling you.
And then guess what? No. And then guess what? To play what they said, devil's advocate, even if it's not another man in the situation right now, even if that's not the reason right now, because that's happened in the past before now, your mind starts to say, I wonder if it's that. And then because you haven't, there's been ample opportunity to speak, and you haven't taken any opportunity to speak, and all of a sudden now you can find the words to speak. It's going to ring alarm bells, because if everything was fine Christmas and now we're in March and nothing go on,
she giving him a chance again. She giving him a chance.
So you have to wonder. And then obviously
for Valentine's, he sent she a gift for Valentine's Day.
Because women do go through confusion. Men too. Sometimes you're really in the middle and you're really emotionally torn, not sure. So you just gotta step back. Let me pause a little bit and so forth. You know, they're gonna learn. And don't worry. Springtime, Easter time, she gonna come back to you and start giving you the full attention when she realized the man ain't changed at all.
Right, and then
but I think it's that influence will have.
That's what I'm saying, because when you do that though, you create a yo-yo effect that is not beneficial. And also, please, let's be mindful as well. If you're ping-ponging between you and an next man, are you getting checked? Is that man getting checked? We're now going into a next territory of sexual health and protecting yourself sexually, which is even more important.
But I think we allowed to have that decision making process.
Okay, true.
I feel like we should be allowed to, because men do it.
Yes.
So why when a woman does it, it creates a yo-yo effect for you? How come when only stringing us along and only ain't sure what's going on and all it? How come is, you know what I mean? How come we more accommodating and be like, well, all right, he choose me, so it's fine.
It hurt more.
Hold on.
Why?
Don't get tied up or try and tie me up. It works both ways.
No. I'm not trying to tie you up. I'm just saying, as a general, we as women, we know men have choices, and
women have choices too.
What I'm saying is, with men, they're actually seeing other women. We know,
and women are seeing other men
and
too.
it's almost like you're auditioning for that thing. So it's a back and forth. Sometimes you'll touch me and you touch back here, but you with your child mother or whatever, and eventually they might settle with you. You understand him? Once I say, when springtime come, when winter come, everybody want to hug up, so it's getting cool outside. You understand? So, I feel like we should allow people to make those choices and decisions freely.
Right. So
no, you're allowed to.
You're allowed to, but it's the communication, and where do you draw the line? There's too much flippancy. You have to draw the line somewhere, and that's.
So you think that putting you in a mood where you don't want it?
Yeah,
it would.
Of course. Because
you know what,
don't like it. Women don't like it. When the man is treating you yo-yo, you hear it all the time. You see it in the movies. You feel you can just come in and out of my life like I'm a piece of this and this and that. Right? It happens. So we're privy to it. We're privy to it. I'm not justifying men's action of doing that. I'm not supporting it in any way. I'm a Libra. I deal with balance. My thing, you can ask me how it is for me personally, and that's what's for me. I'm just like, no, that don't make sense. Like, why don't? And obviously, when you get to a certain age as well, you have to have a certain level of emotional intelligence and communication.
Yep.
So what age is that?
whatever.
For men.
Your age.
For men, what age is that?
For men,
yeah, what age?
I would say from 24 upwards. Yeah.
No. So I would honestly say, when it is you're leaning towards your 40s, you really have to, you really get a better understanding. Because when it is you reach 30, I'm telling you, when it is you in your 30s, when it is you feeling so fresh and so clean, it's a totally different thing. You understand? Because you're in your prime. You understand?
You know why?
Me? And when it is you, go ahead.
Because all you realize that all you ask to be in the band, sorry for the ASS, all you need to be in the band, cooling all yourself and getting fed instead of be out in the grass looking to graze. That is when all you start to realize that. Even all the 50s, all you don't realize that.
How do you learn and grow if you don't go out and graze in the grass? How do you learn and grow?
Looking for things, watering
How
grass
do you learn
and
and grow if you don't go in the grass? How would you learn and grow?
You're literally countering my point, because that's the same example I use with the wine tasting. If you're constantly out there in the grass grazing, when are you going to realize that the barn is where all the hay and the haystacks are? You need to be
when the knee hurting them and they need somebody to sap the knee and carry them in the hospital.
Everybody's journey is different.
That when they go come and check you.
No, everybody's journey is different, right? And people get a realization of where their life is at some point, right? Maybe she reach that point yet. She's at the point where it hasn't really hit her properly. You understand me? And for a lot of women, they would say, boy, when it hit me, it was too late. I missed my chance.
That happens to a lot of women.
I've had so many female friends that have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I've had women who actually tell me, dealing in this industry, some women might be so beautiful, they're so hot, but then they realize the things they used to get away with in their 20s and the things they used to do to man, they can't get away when they get in their late 30s. All of a sudden now, the options are getting smaller. You understand? The selection is getting smaller. But the funny thing is, as a man going in his upper 30s, his financial power is expanding. His desirability is expanding. So here's the man desirability is expanding. But women said that they wish they let all them good men pass them by throughout the years. And now they get in their 30s and their 40s and they realize that selection pool is narrowing down very quickly.
I never felt that way. And it always have cougarism. So I never really felt that way.
Yeah, but
and I'm close to 50, by the way. I'm close to 50.
Yeah,
Cougar life.
Listen,
you're on the same,
Just saying.
Sugar mommy.
You can't be saying sound like you and because all I want to have daughter, right? So you are the daughter sharing the same pool of young men.
Not that young. Some said nasty. So,
listen,
not that young.
You said cougarism.
Are you taking a mic now?
No, I'm not going that young. No, they're not old enough. They're not young enough to be my child. No, I'm not.
No. It is a bit more difficult to date men as you get older, as opposed to men probably get more desirable as they get older.
I don't find so.
Okay.
Zaya, you have to say in our particular scene, the soca scene, the women are very, bountiful and they're very beautiful and they're still glowing at such a mature age. So it's especially when they go to things like Jam Juve, when they go to things like Jam Juve and Dreamland and Soca on the Roof and Soca Weekender, and they're still looking nice and prim in them bikini and them slaying and all these things. The young boys 25 and above and 30 and above gonna still pinch them and say, hey, wagwan, the night.
It's back. It's back.
And because they know that
let me tell you another fact though. Every year there's another graduating class of ladies entering the market. Every year there's another graduating class.
But now watch this now. This now,
you're hot tonight.
This is turning into, and I've noticed this, it's turning into a competition now between the genders. Well, I'm prim and I'm nice and I can still pull some young bulls, and I'm a nice, mature looking man, and I can still get some sexy fit young girl, and then you're here doing this battle of who has the most attractive sexual prowess, and it's like, what's the point?
Because they're putting you in the mood.
No, for
They're
me,
keeping you in the mood. That's why.
No, for me, I did try with some
the excitement.
The older men were just lacking. The older men
lacking in what?
Caught up with their baggage. And they're setting their way self and all this. Yeah,
Zai taking a step over there.
And I'm not gonna lie, younger one come off, and yes, he broke off his back to go and make sure I want to go do things, make dates and whatever. With the older guy, which I thought would be more suitable, it's like I might as well just talk to the wall. I might as well just talk to the wall.
But then again, that's not fair enough, because you're in a situation where the younger person is over proving themselves to you. That's what that sounds like.
No, it doesn't overproving. They were showing interest. If someone said they like you, someone likes you, okay? Someone said they like you, and now do nothing, and not call you, and not message you, nothing. That's not
exactly.
You're
head over heels on the road.
Because again, it goes back to what I said earlier, because it's always the men doing the hunting or the approaching or the pursuing, you have that expectation.
I tried to set date. The man telling me him life is spontaneous. So I just said, so what? If it's wait until No.
But Marsha,
I
and
said,
that's
let's open up diary, see where there's a gap, or we can make a plan. Him telling me him life to be spontaneous. So
and that same I'm not spontaneous. Now I don't want to go on no dates, whatever. Them so is the ones who want the comforting, and think you're supposed to be in the mood.
So
they're doing the minimum, they're doing the least.
I had a choice. I could sit there and wait like Mocha for him to be spontaneous, or I could have got on with my life. And
I'm 3 or 4 young boys take you out every weekend.
Do what makes you happy.
Now I see why I can't see you in the fit them no more. You're on dates now. Right. Yeah.
Marsha, your business in the
road. You too lie. Don't cause a
business on the road.
No, too lie. You can see me. You see me all the time. Medea. I see you last week. I want mass band lunch. Too lie.
You was
so
working.
Marsha was okay. Lisa was okay. Nai, what you say?
I said what?
Not
quiet. What you say? What you say? You with Marsha?
No, I'm saying what you say. You agree with Marsha?
Well, agree with Marsha.
I would say this, right?
Sorry, remind me of the point, because you said a lot.
From a man's perspective, right? When I was younger.
To me.
Okay. Well, Lisa, just fling it back on me. No, she didn't fling it back on me. She took it back on me.
There was a lot to unpack there.
Lisa, take your time. So,
what are you asking?
Saying, right? With what Marsha is saying there, if it is a younger fella or whatever, or older man coming to talk to you or whatever, where would you feel that you would go down the right? Which road you would take much quicker, or you would feel much more comfortable?
Or your age mate?
Because you'll be questioning yourself, boy. I wonder if I'm still as young as I was, boy. If I could still,
No.
But no, women ask questions.
It's actually a really good question to be asking, like now at the age I'm at, because I'm kind of, able to play. I could go down.
The father of the son, huh?
You know what I mean? Because I'm actually, it's looking good now. You know what I'm saying? So,
what's good now?
Yeah, man.
Options.
But the thing is, when I deep it, when I was obviously much younger, I kept on having older guys approaching me. And it was very rare that I would get a guy that's my age approaching me. And that used to annoy the hell out of me a lot.
Why do you think that was? Why do you think a guy your age would not approach you when it is you were younger?
I think maybe because I came across too mature.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I guess I was.
For another day, by the way, because
physically
we have to
emotionally and all of that. Yeah, I guess I was a bit too mature, And then when I got to 30s, I think things kind of balanced. But now it's kind of weird because now I've got a lot of younger guys on the approach, more than say guys my age and a bit older. So now it's kind of flipped.
I know
So it's
you're
kind of
smiling like you're just
interesting.
happy.
But
Living life like it's golden.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. Sorry, sir, influential. What did you say?
You're smiling like you can't smile no more.
At the moment,
Okay.
man. You get me? And it's a good town.
It helps, you know.
Yeah, it's a good town,
You don't
man.
need it, but it's nice.
Yeah. But I don't discriminate. So, you know, I probably
we appreciate
I could go the 5 years, maybe the 5 years older, you know, maybe
5
the
years
10
older,
years
5
older.
years younger.
And that's it. We'll cap it at that. I don't know about 10 years now, but yeah, probably 5 years older, but and, you know, and 5 years younger, and that's it. I
will safely do 10
younger
years.
than
That's how much
10 years
you say
older,
10 years maximum.
younger?
10 years younger, I could do very easily.
10 years younger, 10 years older is okay.
I've done it once, and it was a bit weird for me. 10 years younger. Well, it's actually nice.
Want to date a young woman? I just want an older woman that keeps herself young. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get that. Scenario.
Yeah, I get that.
An older guy that keeps himself young would be the perfect scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I look in.
They're in the soca scene. Just need to look a bit harder.
I've been in the soca scene.
Boy.
No.
But what I would say though, what I've noticed is that it seems to me that the younger guys know what they want, and they seem to be more
forthcoming.
You know, yeah, like, you know, they're not on a long thing, they're not wasting time. Whereas the guys that's my age and a bit older, they're on some joke thing, you know. And like Marsha said earlier, you're dealing with baggage as well on top of that, and you're on a joke thing, and you're in an age category where you should have your shit together, and you don't. So you know what?
Yep.
Take the trip down to Cougar Town, man. Seems all right there.
Cougar Town, wow. Trinity vibes, write that down. Cougar Town. The Slayers tours begin. Cougar Town.
We find with somebody our age, you know. It's just it's not happening.
Why you still writing notes
shit? We used to hot sauce shit.
I can't wait for the notes from Giselle on this one, yes?
Well, but let me now move into the topic, because I know we have like about half an hour left. Let's go into the final topic where we're really gonna explore our understanding of ourselves in the sexual realm, and in particular more so looking at the definition of freak. What is a freak to you? Pajo touched on it before he left. So let me go to Zai, because you're in America, and we know that you guys have I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately been the mecca and the blueprint for what sexual freakness is, and the porn industry and the freak industry is at an all-time high in Europe.
Talking about America, or you talking about London?
America.
No, I would say that
America.
You gotta go to the Netherlands.
Yeah. London and New York. Y'all have
the Netherlands. Go to the Netherlands.
Yeah. Have you been to Amsterdam?
But yeah, so let's start with you, Zai. What is the definition of a freak?
That's varied. And the reason why I say that it's so varied, because I don't know, it's hard to explain, because what might be absurd or abnormal to somebody might be perfectly normal to someone else.
That's what Marsha was saying earlier.
That. But what I would say from my experience over the years and society in general, from what I'm hearing, is that European women tend to be more open in their sexuality than Caribbean women. And one of the reasons why is that Black women in general always feel that they're being judged.
Objectified.
Not on top of that too, the way the media present them, like Black women have to be perfect. We have to be prim. We have to be proper. We can't get away and do all that crazy stuff that white people do and automatically bounce back. Meanwhile, no, to be real, like a white woman can have any experience in college. She could sleep with the basketball team, and then she go get a job, and everybody polish up, and everybody forget what she did in college.
Yeah.
If a black woman do the same thing,
and I was
20
talking
years
about
from
that
now, we still talking about her. We still put a label on her. We still put a tag on her. So you find black women, even though they may want to explore their
more
sexuality,
inhibited. Yeah.
they're scared of the stigma that comes with that. They don't want to be judged, as opposed to European women, how they just open. When I mean European, I mean more Caucasian counterpart. So in New York is very diverse. Some people are crazy out there. They have regular swingers clubs in New York that's very open and so forth. But you'll find, and the funny, let me not put myself in trouble here. But if you was to go in those type of environments, you'll realize that it's a lot of professional people in that environment.
Yeah.
Sometimes doctors, teachers, lawyers. You'll be surprised by the environment. And you'll also notice that it's more white people, like I said, that's open with their sexuality, as opposed to blacks and Caribbean, where we always feel like we have to be prim and proper and perfect and don't want to be judged for our sexual behavior. Am I on the mark with that, or am I kind of off on that?
No, you're on the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spot on.
All right, fair enough. Let's hear from Lisa Love now. What is your definition of a freak?
Me.
Okay.
No. Let me put that in context, right?
No, she meant it.
Yeah, no, I meant it.
She meant that?
No, I meant it. Similar to what we were talking about before. Right. You see, when you have that healthy forum and you have a healthy platform, and your man make you feel certain ways, and you see certain things, and listen, I will swing from the chandelier. I don't really care. But that have to come with you also getting your needs met. But you have to feel comfortable with that person, free with that person, to, like Zai mentioned, not feel like you're being judged, like you're being a WHORE. And like he said, I feel like us as Black Caribbean women have been judged on that basis of how we perform, how we do perform, how we do it, how we didn't do it, we couldn't do it properly, you understand, is all that kind of stuff. But I'm happy if I'm with that person. I'm happy. We could explore all sorts of stuff. For me, I'm willing to try everything once. So yeah, I think it's that openness, that freeness to feel in your mind like tomorrow you can get up and go to work and just feel normal, just feel good, because you know you have that healthy sexual relationship. So I think if you're willing to be open and you could be free and not feel judged, I think you within yourself you are a freak. But I know men, I have friends who are male friends who are freaks. So it doesn't only apply to females. And I think sometimes she's a freak, it's always she. But there are a lot of men who are freaks as well. Yeah. So you do certain things to them and you realize that, okay, all right, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you could tell.
I'm afraid to ask. I'm curious. I'm curious, but I'm afraid to ask.
For those that need to know,
when the sauce overflowing, you have to careful.
Once I'm in a healthy relationship and I could be comfortable, I am happy to do things to my partner, and I'm happy to get things done. So yeah. But I feel like men too, though, within our society, they want to watch the woman be a freak, but they're not willing to do certain things. And I think I saw it on TikTok before, where this guy, I think he's a younger Black British guy, and he was talking about something that the girl did to him. I think she slapped him or something, slapped him on his bottom or some kind, and he was in his head, he's like, but why is she slapping me? And then he was like, but this feeling good. Because in the moment he like, but what the hell is this? Oh yeah, that feel good. So whatever she was doing, she do it out of thing, but then he never get that done. So he's like, but what the hell? I ain't no female, I ain't no B. Why is she slapping me? I ain't no. So he said he turned around and is like, he wanted to tell her do it again, but he couldn't because he don't want boys know, he don't want nobody know, he don't want like. So I think once you're willing to be free and do something that you didn't think about before that brings you pleasure, that is my definition of a freak. But men out here running scared from freakiness though.
Boy,
They're
2022.
talking it, yeah, girl.
You must
When
be
I
talking
get
about
here,
London.
I go this, I go that, and
I think
yeah,
you touched on a very good point there, Lisa. A lot of men
yeah,
want you to exhibit your freakiness
your
within
freakiness,
their parameters, but they don't want
and that's
to.
it
Mm-hmm.
within their
But
parameters. That
and
is
of
it.
course, I feel like that probably stems from a lot of again society and what we see in pornography, what we see in videos, what we
Yeah.
hear on social media, and yeah, again, we're gonna get to that a little bit afterwards. But let's hear from Miss Pondy Road.
Like I said earlier, like one man's freakiness is another man's boring.
Man,
It's
boring. Yep.
relative to each person. Yeah, I just comes down to compatibility, open communication. If you're willing to try things, I mean, I would say I'm pretty open-minded within reason, but then, like I said, one man's boring, another man's freakiness. So, but it's, as Lisa said, being in a safe and secure and like also loving relationship where you feel, and for women, I think safety, you feel safe because some men can use
it against you. Yep.
Yep.
Either they talk about it to other people,
Yep.
like actually video footage of what's taking
The
place.
video, right? Yep.
And vice versa. And vice versa.
Yeah, where they talk to you about it after the event, or they may treat you differently, so yeah, I've been in that safe, secure relationship to be able to experiment together, I think is what is important. And obviously if he's thinking, oh, he would like to try, and just, if you're in that secure relationship, you may want to try to please your partner. You may end up actually liking it and not realizing, you know what, this is actually kind of, I kind of like this. You understand? And then together, it's something you found out together. It's a journey that you've gone through together. It does happen. It doesn't always mean one person's got to have a higher sex drive than the other. Sometimes you can find that middle ground. You may be a couple that you may say like, okay, yeah, we want to go to a swingers club. You may not go there every weekend, but you might go there once a year on your anniversary for like a little, I don't know, whatever dynamic works for you. So, and I think it's personal to each couple, and I think it's a private thing as well. So I don't think it's something you should walk around and be telling people, because those kind of conversations, they are quite taboo. People will judge you. So you either got to speak with other like-minded people who feel the same way about the things that you're interested in, or you have it with your partner and that's just your thing. So I mean, whatever you get up to your partner behind closed doors is between you and your partner. Why you're not killing the body, then yamming a dead body and doing nothing crazy. You understand?
Yeah. Nothing.
But I can't try pee pun people and shit pun people and I don't think that you can knock yourself.
Suppose that is their freakiness.
Yes, it is their freakiness, but you get pink eye. You get pink eye from people who they're blind. It's not happening.
Wear your mask.
It's not wear your mask over your eye.
And put on some goggles.
Some goggles, yeah, go and dive in,
and for PPP gear, PP whatever gear, then you can partake in that thing if that so be your thing. You understand? But you know what I'm saying? The same there's levels. But
thank you so much for that, Miss Ponderwood. We definitely know you're on the right road. And seeing as we have Trinidad in the building, let's go to the Super Trinity here. His definition of the super freak.
We taking notes, sir. Super
Trinity. Take all your notes. Let me put it this way, right? Everybody has their age.
Let us know if you're gonna give us the Super Trini freak or the Just Vibes freak. I will know you have
I'll keep it the super. I'll keep it the super. For me personally, if it is you make me ask the question, what you say 3 or 4 times, then you're definitely showing me that you're a freak. Wait, where's that? What you asking me for? Where's that you say? Where's that? Now repeat that. How you just do that? If you have me asking questions, then that means you're on that level. But for the most for the most part, everybody's sexual journey is different. And if it is you're on that road, and this is one of my things, right? And it's so funny. I was speaking to somebody about this the other day. A woman would hold back her preferences, right? But she would expect you to make sure that she's pleased to the utmost. You understand me? So that, she comes back or you want more. You understand me? And then she might say, oh, you know what? I will do a little bit more. I will do this. So then I'll be like, so wait now. Where's the top of your mountain then?
There's
you understand?
no
Because if it is you're
Don't
only
try to
giving
find the top. Just
no,
take
hold
your
on,
next step.
hold on. If it is you're only giving me this, right? But I already given you the heights that so we're trying to say that this is a negotiation of how the freakiness should go. In terms of you're only willing to partake with this, but there's so much more you will do, but that is on a time scale.
Yeah, because for women,
Yeah,
remember we
what's
just
wrong
said
with
it
that?
because we need to feel safe. We need to feel like we're not gonna be judged and it's not gonna be thrown back in our face. Girl, you there, and you say it out in the road and in front of people and all kind of thing.
Nah, but one thing I just tell women, right? If we are entering into a sexual relationship and we make up in mind that we enter into a sexual relationship, there could be no rules, regulations.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making there.
If you are not fully comfortable going all the way, then let's not
then go one way.
But Zah, you can't be comfortable all the way at the beginning.
You can't be comfortable all the way at the beginning.
There's rules, there's regulations, regulations.
Wait, hold on. So what is the beginning then? The beginning is what? When it is actually in the same room with the person, or the beginning is the dialogue of what's going to take place? What is the beginning?
We have different sexual journeys, so the beginning for me will be different from Marsha, be different for Nai.
If you're saying it's because of the beginning, right? Where is that beginning? Because it must start in here, in your mind. That journey, 100% starting up here. That would trigger everything else. Your conversation, the way how it is you would interact with that person, how it is you would feel within yourself, and how it is that person will make you feel. That comes from the trigger of the communication you have with that person from the get-go.
But she's right. You're not gonna have.
But your body is not going to be the same way.
You can't do everything the first time, Chini. For example,
if you're not comfortable enough with that person, then don't sleep with the person.
No, guys.
But you have to sleep in order to get comfortable.
Hold on.
It's like the first time
we have sex. I with you, partner. Because if it is you can't eat half of a cake. If the whole cake is there, right? And you put the next half in the fridge, it's not going to taste the same, right?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Unless you warm it up.
No, water going to change the texture.
No, but it would change the texture because you would literally be like, it don't have the same oomph anymore.
That's a bad example to use, and as a chef, you're supposed to know better. That's a bad example.
That is the perfect example because when you cut that first slice of the
platform, you've come on the same platform and said you are taken aback when women jump on you and are forthcoming.
No, it's not the same thing.
Then the cake is
no, this is somebody in a relationship. If
it is you and somebody having a conversation and you're on that road and you're reaching open the door.
Everything straight away. There's growth and relationship. There's levels to the thing. You understand?
So Karen, let me ask you. So let me say I like to use sex toys, right? And like dildo and thing. And I like to
bring the crackers back. Bring the whole.
So I bring in everything one time and I just do it all firstly. And I gave you that
first time.
Show me what I'm doing from the front.
You wouldn't bring it out the first time.
What did I say?
You would introduce it later down the line.
What did I say?
I'm just saying, show me what I'm dealing with up front.
Yeah, exactly.
All I'm saying is that if you're not comfortable enough to explore your sexuality to the fullest, then wait until we trust one another. Then we can do it. But we can't be in bed and you talking about, well, I don't do this yet, and I don't do that yet.
You guys sound crazy. You guys sound crazy.
Zaya,
That's like
I
saying the
agree with
woman
you,
must
partner.
meet you, and the first time when you go on a date, she must kiss you on the lips and all
No,
kind of
no.
tongue and
I'm
teeth.
saying
No,
let's not
no
enter into a
influencers.
sexual relationship until we feel comfortable with each other.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
But
So
there's
once we
different
enter the
stages of
sexual
Yeah, but
feeling
relationship,
you're
it
not
comfortable.
gonna just
includes
let
There's
loose.
validation
different.
and a whole bunch
That's
of
like
carrying.
forcing a baby to
You
eat
know,
eat roti
most
straight
times,
away.
Watch
a lot of
me.
people go and
The
do
I like
trust,
that the men having this conversation with themselves.
watch
everything
me. The
one
trust
time.
shouldn't come. The trust shouldn't come from the sexual relationship. The
Thank you.
trust should come from the relationship.
Before the sex
You
even
understand
joins,
me?
we build up a
From
trust.
the conversation, so that if it is you know that you're not ready to show yourself or be your full flower, bloom all the way. A flower can't
Your
bloom
whole
halfway.
flower. Nah,
The
we
flower
Most
can't
blooming, you
bloom
know.
blooms
We have
halfway.
halfway.
flowers and blooming, you
What
know.
honest are you? Are you drunk? Of course, the
No,
flower bloom halfway. The flower
what?
opens up bit by bit by bit
Yes,
by bit
people,
by
I'm
bit.
Yes,
not gonna,
but listen to
I'm
me.
not
But
gonna come out
exactly,
straight
I don't
away.
want.
It's
I
bit
don't
by
want.
bit. It's not the
Watch
whole
me.
flower you get one time.
The bit by bit by
Hello.
bit by
When
bit.
you buy your woman flowers, she get the whole thing open up so,
The
or
bit,
some of them
but
open so,
listen,
some of them
the
open a
bit
little
by
bit
bit
open
by
so.
bit by
Hold,
bit is where it is you have that
hold
communication.
on.
Because
No, no.
if it is you come, no, I'm telling you,
Disagree.
Zaya and I are on the same page here.
One side
Influencer,
can be on the same page, don't mean that to the writer.
watch
No,
me.
you're not making
Listen,
sense.
you ask me
Just
my
because you
you ask me my
agree, that don't mean
perspective.
you're
You
making
ask
sense.
me my perspective, and I telling you straight that if it is you're coming to the sexual side of it, and you're not going to, if it is
Stages.
you expect, because you're
Stages.
expecting me to be 100% in
Stages.
pleasing you as a
Maybe
woman.
400
As a
in
woman,
return.
when you come in there, you want me to please you, right?
Not on the first time, like full on.
What?
On the
You're
first time,
going
you're
No.
exploring each other's
you're going
body.
on call
You're
your
figuring
girlfriend
out
and
what
say,
she
what's
like.
going on here?
No,
I don't feel like, I don't know what it is I get in.
no,
I know what it is I get in. I know what it is I get in a girl. I know what it is I get in.
First to begin,
no, no,
I
super
don't tell
trinity.
my female friends
No,
about my sexual experience because I don't
no,
want nobody
no,
knowing my
super
business, how
trinity.
good or bad it is.
Woman is not gonna do that. She's not gonna do that. If the first time is
No.
good, he's like, yeah, it's good, and I'm willing to try this the next time now because I know he can do this. You get the foundation set. What are you talking about?
Nah, Zaya.
No, you
Zaya.
want okay. So hold on. You want the woman to come to the dinner date at the Just for
Listen,
restaurant.
no, see,
Hold on,
that's
hold on, hold on.
yeah,
Like, give
no,
you a
ask
chance
the
to
question
speak.
and you answer again.
You want her to come to as you guys said, bring the whole crocus bag. So she must come with the crocus bag and take it out in front of you and say, yeah, push this in your mouth. I like when I see man suck dildo. Straight away the first day.
Listen to me.
That's what I was saying.
Listen, no, but
You're not
listen.
gonna want that. You're not gonna want that.
Hold
Or
on.
you want
If
her to
that
say,
is what,
oh yeah,
listen,
come
if
nab me
that
right
is what
here
she
in the
bring, if
restaurant.
that is
Come
what she
nab me
bring
on
to
the
the table on
outside.
the first
Nab
date,
me
then you
so
address it on the first date. If that is what she bring, if that is what she bring on the first date, then you address it on the first date. If
Exactly.
it's
It's
not
better to
for
find
you,
out upfront than to
No.
find out 6 days later.
exactly.
You try
If
to
that
push
is what
something
she
in
bring
there.
on the first date, then
Why
you say,
do
yeah, good man.
This is why
Zai,
the women have a problem
Zai,
because you guys
No,
are
partner.
living with
No,
basic
no,
expectation
because
and it's not how life go.
Zai,
no,
you
but I'm
sound like
telling you, if it
you
is they
sound like
bring
that was
out
a
on the first
personal
date,
thing, boy.
No, I'm
if they
just
bring
saying,
out
right?
on the first date, you know
I'm just
where you
saying,
stand.
I rather
You're gonna
know.
say, wow, this one is a bit too
You
forward
know
coming.
where you stand. You
No,
know
you're
where
not
it is. You
I
can
gonna
deal
respect
with.
the person
You can
that's
say, no,
because
upfront.
you're being a
thank you.
hypocrite.
Yes, we're
You're
gonna
being a
talk about this.
hypocrite.
We're gonna talk about your fantasies. We're gonna talk about your fetishes. We're gonna talk about being a freak. I need to know what I'm dealing with up front. And if you don't feel comfortable to open up with me 100%, let's wait till we feel
Yeah,
comfortable
But
with
wait.
each other.
but
Wait. I good. I good. I will
people not
wait.
having those conversations before. Am I
But
wrong?
that's
Like,
what they
I
should
don't
be
know,
talking
Nye.
about. We need
But
to
that's what
talk
we should be
about
talking about. Because at the end of the day, if it is you're talking about definition of a freak, right? If she come to the second venture, if she come to that dinner table and she say that to me, I'm in the position where it is I'll say, here we're going to darling, no. That is not my thing, eh?
exactly.
We can talk about it. But at least
She's frightened though,
when
but
it
she
is the
wait.
date over, you know where you stand, partner. You
And
know where
say
you
she won't
stand.
use it on you. She's frightened. She's gonna chase you away.
Yeah, but then
That's the
2
issue.
months
Yeah,
later,
but
she want to introduce new things into the
But you
relationship.
see, we spoke about this. We spoke about this earlier on, right? Where it is, if it is you're not fully invested or you're not going to have that full conversation with somebody about how it is you feel
No, you guys are
or
using
how
that
it is or
wrong.
whatever, right?
You're using
You
that
then
wrong.
can say, "Oh, I will tell him a little bit more later on." You understand me? Because it will create a bigger issue. You understand me? It will create. There would be an issue.
Oh God.
there would be an
Yeah,
issue
that
because
is.
All right. Let me
I don't
stop
feel
you
like
there.
that's a natural
I'm not
flow.
taking my sex toys to my first date because
Let me
I know.
let
that
me
is
stop
your
you out
period.
there.
Masha,
Can I please hold on?
Masha,
Hold on,
Masha.
hold
That
on.
means you have some. That is
Of
a
course,
Oh
comment.
my
Marsha have
goodness.
some.
Oh,
Marsha have plenty. She on the road. But Nai, can we hear from you, please? What is your definition? Get me? See that perfect question. But Nai, before please answer, and
Yeah,
then we're
that's a
gonna
perfect question.
let Zai and Trini, Super Trini, answer that question. Nai, please, what is your definition of a freak, please?
My definition of a freak is someone who is willing to do anything and everything that is sexual.
Your
Right?
voice changed like that a while ago, Lord.
It in a nutshell, that's basically it, isn't it? It's someone who's willing to do anything and everything.
Anywhere.
Right?
anywhere, anytime.
What,
Anywhere.
Always Janet,
anytime,
always
any
Janet
place, any
Jackson.
hole, anyone. Yeah, that's the definition. And yeah, I feel like the way
Take a screenshot
how can I
there.
put
Take
it?
a screenshot.
What? What's going on there? 200.
showing it.
Okay. That's what you're reading right now,
people
yeah?
should be reading.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take details in a bit after the show. Yeah. What I was gonna say though was or is I should say when it comes to being a freak, I don't think it's a subject that's really talked about much within couples, right? Or when you're on the dating stages, getting to know one another and everything.
No, it's not.
And I don't think men are or maybe certain men, I should say, certain men are not very comfortable in having that conversation. And I don't understand why. Because at the end of the day, it's about fact finding. How would you know if that person? Yeah. How would you know if that person's compatible for you sexually if you don't ask certain questions and have certain conversations?
You have to talk. You have to be very open with the
exactly. So, for example, I was once upon a time had a boyfriend who did not like the conversation about previous encounters. Right?
What is pot going?
The pot burning.
Where you
right.
going?
Well, I'm gonna get back to my point. Anyway, wherever, Super Trick, or you're getting your notebook. Which one?
Don't worry. Carry on. Don't worry, man.
Right? I don't understand, or I don't see why it's an issue for a man and a woman to have a conversation about previous encounters. It's good to know where your partner is, where he's been, what he's done, where he's at, or what he would like to do in the future. You know what I mean? Because I feel it's about fulfilling every need possible, in my opinion.
How you have that conversation though, you can say it like, I like this and I like that. But when you're saying, yeah, my ex used to do this.
Yeah, you don't have to mention that.
I get that.
But you don't have to say it like that.
That's what I'm saying. But someone
it's how you put it.
The
It
last
is about
guy,
how you put it.
there was one time, this one
Yeah.
guy, I remember this guy from here. When I was in Grenada 2019, this guy did this to me in the tree.
Grenada, no, it's true. And it's true what certain influencer is saying, because like, again, I've seen on the flip side, on the receiving end, again, it's how these things are dropped here, where it's like, oh yeah, my ex-girlfriend was a freak. She used to like X, Y, and Z. And it could be something that you're not even like comfortable in doing, and it's just like,
but it's you.
Shit.
But you see, that's where it comes from, where you feel safe, because that person is using it now to get to manipulate the present partner.
So is that manipulation?
That's a weapon.
Because I mean, you know what? Sex is a competitive sport. Let's put it out there. It is competitive. So I feel like if your partner is now saying, "Rah, my ex-girlfriend did this and did that," and you're just like, "Rah," like
that's how some men are approaching it.
Yeah, it could be something I've done before and I'm not comfortable with it, or it could be something I've done before and I actually do not like it. I hate it. You understand? But because they've now dropped it in there to say, oh yeah, my last girlfriend or ex-girlfriend was a freak because she did this and she did that, then it's just like pressure, man. Unwanted pressure, because then you're like, right, how can I even top that? I've probably it could be something that you've done before and you don't want to revisit again.
Again, that's why we say, like y'all said, and this has been the circulating factor. It's the communication. It's how you deliver that message. So it's how you have that conversation, which is why I'm saying to Super Trini and Zaya, like, yo, there's gradual stages to it. You can't just say, yo, listen, boom, bam, I want to put my whole elbow in your nanny. No, what the hell? There's a way to do it.
No, you're missing the point. You're missing it here, right? You're missing it here, right? This is where you're missing it.
Sorry, elbow took me out.
Right? Let me take my elbow out. Let me take my elbow out. You're missing the point here, right? If it is your growth in your sexual journey, your sexual prowess, right? You won't have that discussion. But if it's with somebody that you're considering having a relationship with, right? Or you're considering being with in a totally romantical way, you literally sometimes should have that conversation straight off the bat. You understand me? Because it creates, it opens up so many doors to have those conversations from earlier on. And if it is like how the person commented and said it should be a gradual thing, right? If it is, they said where their freaky level is, why can't you then say, okay, you all the way up there? I've never been up there, but I don't mind taking these steps to reach there. But at least you know where it is you're going where that is concerned. So that's all part of that same journey. So with me personally, how, like I said, Zaya and I echoing the same thing. Influential is okay. You could have your half-grown flower, no problem. We want the full bloom. Because if we get a full bloom, we're creating more seeds. We're creating something else.
Add on to that too. Because the bottom line about it, all the women don't want to give 100%. But I must give 100%.
Exactly.
I only give 70%. And I ain't show you all my skills and all my wine and all my I have to show you the 100% from day one.
Zai, you're in full bloom tonight.
No woman has said that. They've said to you want a certain amount. What's the pass mark? The pass mark is 80. So if you get 80, you're good. But you can still do 20%. Or if the pass mark is 70.
But what is 80 for them? You know what 80 for them is?
I just aim for excellence every time.
You know what 80 for them? You don't know what 80 is for a woman. So if you don't know, you have to give 100%. And then she will grade it and say, oh, you know what? You reach 79 there, partner. You ain't make that 80.
If you don't know what 80% is, how you can know what 100% is?
That is my whole point.
You gave your best. That's why you gave your best.
That is my whole point, because you know within your heart of hearts that, you know what? You put yourself out there, you give 100%. If she reciprocates, right? If she reciprocates, then at least you all know where it is your stand. If she says, oh, well, I really, you know, or she just chooses not to. You're in a position where...
What she said, Trini? What she said?
Like, you know, they stutter. You know, they stutter when anything will come in. You know, but then that's where it is, you know, they're battling with whether it is they should be 100% or they should hold back. And then as a man, you're seeing a woman holding back. When you're giving 100% or you're trying to make sure that you please that person, it's going to be off-putting. When it is you'll be saying, wait a minute, if it is you're not really 100% in it, why start it?
Right, exactly. Let's wait.
Why even turn the ignition if it is you know you're not on that level, or you don't want to reach all the way there unless it is because the words all you use is be comfortable. We want to feel safe. But if it is you have that dialogue first and create that dialogue where there is no sex or that kind of stuff and you're able to build a relationship, then you would know where to, if it is you feel safe enough to let a person in, knowing that, hey, I really like this, or this is what is comfortable with. And then you go from there. And that is the point.
And Zai, you always give all your fetishes and fantasies in the beginning. You always talk them things.
We're going to discuss that. Of course, we're going to have these conversations. Of course, I have this conversation. I need to know if this person
in the first,
are we going to be compatible.
Key thing is the first conversation.
Listen,
the first conversation, we're missing the point. I'm saying we are not to sleep with one another and get physical until we trust and respect and is comfortable with one another. So it may take 2 months, it may take
But
3
that's
months.
what we saying. We
No,
thought you meant on
we're
the
not
first,
talking
on the first thing.
back in the bedroom. I'm talking about once we do decide to go in the bedroom, there's no holding back.
Yes, that's what we're saying.
Okay,
Once you get to the bedroom, you
No, I
can't
thought you
touch
all were
it.
saying when you're talking and you're meeting,
No,
everything
no,
one
You're not
time. I'm like,
changing
but
it.
how?
No, stop it.
Oh.
Y'all now, don't put your hand down and wait. Because hold on.
No.
The
We
tone.
They're
misunderstood.
talking about
We
old-fashioned
misunderstood.
courting. When you court
Yeah.
somebody and you have conversations, you go on dates, and you get to find out
This
before
is
you
my-
have that sexual connection. Okay, a lot of people in this modern day and age do not do that route. Okay, they are blurred lines from the start. It's normally the sexual, and then they talk about relationships,
And then they talk about
and then they find that actually we're not actually that compatible because you like to do it 10 times a day, and I only want to do it one time.
Yeah.
So
Because
we need to have this conversation.
So if people were to follow that format of meeting, courting without any other sexual liaisons going on,
that's not happening anymore.
Then you would find you would be able to achieve that, But the majority of people, unfortunately, that is not the scenario.
Yeah, and that's what it is we're saying. That's what it is we're saying. That's what I want to echo.
I misunderstood what you all meant. So now that you say
I'm
that,
not saying that.
that makes more sense.
Like I said, if it is your sexual prowess, right, and you go to the club tonight and you meet a woman, you understand me? You get what you get. You understand what I'm saying? But if it is you're having a conversation and you're engaging with somebody that you want to take it to the next level with, and you want to be on that same level with them throughout or have that interesting dialogue, there's things that you must be able to be comfortable and say and be open up to, because if it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, she might pull out a backflip from nowhere and you're like, hey, oh God, yeah, nice thing. You know something? But the reality is, you, in terms of if you're talking about freakiness, you would want that person to at least let you know where they're at. So for influential, if Lisa bring the whole crackers back and she say what she say, I have the choice to say, here we're going on, Lisa.
You want to say, well, I like this side of the crocus bag, but that thing over there where you have in the crocus bag, keep it in the bag. All right. We have finally reached level ground. Thank you all. I appreciate it. You have been amazing.
How you mind brand me so by? How the man treat you so by, boy?
Because you weren't articulating yourself properly. Listen, this is how I am as a host. I have to be balanced, and you weren't delivering properly. Now you're delivering properly. The conversation is amazing. Once again, let's take this moment to shout out our sponsors, Glow Dazzle, GMI Mass Band, and of course, Carnival Slayers. And make sure you are following on all platforms, Carnival Slayers, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat.
And Slayer Experience.
And of course, get on board with the Slayer Experience. Carnivals are happening. Summer is coming. We can cater to all your needs, whether it's a private setting where you want to do a birthday shoot, or you have an event where you want a 360 booth, or you're prepping for your band launches and you want a little additional
360 booth. Yeah.
Get the 360 booth, get the Carnival Slayers team, get the Slayer Experience involved to take it to the next level. And of course, for all things vibesy and nice, check out Just Vibes. For all things relationship, check out Lisa Love. And of course, if you're into music, culture, and all things related to that in the Caribbean sphere, check out Zion Music as well. And we're up on the road with Miss Road for all the events and news reporting. Now,
shout out Giselle as well, Giselle as well, and GMI, you know.
Glow Dazzle every time. I mention them first straight away. All of our listeners that are viewing right now, watching and commenting, we appreciate you from all over the world. We have Trinidad, we have America here, and watching as well. So give thanks. Now, so what the final question now before we wrap up in the last, say, 5 minutes or so. In regards to now, we have a definition of what we consider a freak. And then trying to rope it in or tie it into our previous conversation or initial topic, which is the obligations of being in the mood. Knowing what you know now, and if you know your freak level and your partner is aware of your freak level, how do you coordinate meeting your partner's needs, and how do you know dissect and appreciate and understand when their freak level has either decreased or increased in a way that is opposing to what you're comfortable with. If that question makes sense. Is it too loaded or does it make sense?
It's a lot.
If she wants it or not, in the way that you like it.
Yeah. Now that you know, now that we've established
Thanks,
freak,
sir.
what freak is, if you know you're a freak and your partner knows you're a freak and they're constantly not in the mood, how do you as the freak deal with that?
Not in the mood or not in the mood to be that freaky?
Not in the both. So let's take it as not in the mood first and then not in the mood to be that freaky. Let's take both scenarios because again, it's going to be a gradual thing. It starts as not being in the mood and then not being in the mood to be that freaky. Possibly.
But I think not being in the mood to be that freaky, again, I think it would really be determined on whether they were even that freaky in the first place. So I think that's where the freak levels are off balance, isn't it? Because it could be that your partner has expressed to you, or even you might have experimented in an area of freakiness that he loves or she loves, but you are not comfortable with it and you would rather not visit it again. But because you tried, whatever it was, to satisfy your partner and to go down that level of freakiness, and now you've established you're not comfortable with it, they want to revisit it because they think, well, you've already done it before, we've already done it, so we could do it again, but you're not really checking for it like that. So again, I just feel like situations like that means you're off balance, and it's like, well, how do you get back on balance? I think it's going to be a hard one because you've now gone a road that you don't really want to visit again, but they want to. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to put the relationship under pressure.
Well, I think we have to evaluate.
Go ahead, Zai.
Well, I think we have to evaluate how important sex is to you. And the reason why I say that, I believe your sexual satisfaction is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. Okay. So meaning you know what you need in a relationship, and you know when it's being provided and when it's not being provided. And if your needs are not being met and you're not sexually satisfied, then you have an obligation to make yourself happy. You can't ask nobody else to make you happy. So if I have to go elsewhere, then I'm willing to go elsewhere. But remember how I preface it. You have to determine how important sex is to you in a relationship. But don't try to force a square peg into a round hole. If that person is not on the same level to sexually, move on.
So it's a deal breaker, basically.
Fine, move on. Find what makes you happy.
Or can I add, be willing to level up? So, for example, if you're a partner, if you need to up your game, for example, men, we need to be more physically fit to ensure that we can last longer in bed, for argument's sake. Like, and you appreciate and you love your partner. Be willing to do the necessary things. So be willing to work out daily, weekly, drink your water, eat your foods, eat less junk food to ensure that
you're Rasta man who sell Blackstone and them type of thing. Well, good man.
Exactly. Moringa, all these things. So these are the things again.
No problem.
It's like doing these things again. Because it's because what I'm afraid of is setting a tone where we just say, you know what, well, you're not meeting my needs, so guess what, I'm gone. No, where's the desire to work together and build, and the in the compromising, there should be collaboration, there should be collaborative effort.
Compromise, you say, no?
Yeah, because relationships are a compromising thing. It's a compromise to
Why.
Urta Kit said it perfectly.
So I have to actually go. So
yeah, so please jump in and let's hear any final thoughts.
Say your piece first.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it. Yeah.
Final thoughts on this is that relationships are a compromise, because like there are going to be days. Some days he wants it, some days you don't want it, and vice versa. Doesn't mean he's gone off for you and you've gone off them. It's just it should be all have those moments. Obviously, if it's a constant no all the time, then there's deeper issues going on in the relationship. Okay, so let's not take it out of context. And women, I've heard all the time that men want women to be more open. I hear this all the time through growing up in life. I always hear that in the background. My brother says the same thing. You know what I mean? Women need to be more open when they talk about what they want, like especially sexually, either making the first move or being a bit more proactive when it comes to sex. So, you know, and I don't think that's something that women really take on board. I think for fear of being judged.
Mm-hmm.
One, are they over sexual? You know, whether the man's gonna look at them to think, say, well, where you know what them thing there, where you learn them thing there, you've been bought the place, done it. All these things go around in our mind, the things that we, especially as a black woman, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves to be seen as desirable. So sometimes being that overtly sexual and knowing what you want and being, you know what I mean, proactive in what you want can sometimes be perceived the wrong way by certain men, or certain men, you know, you feel like they're going to take that information and use it against you. So it's a tricky road to navigate, you know, it's a tricky road. But at the end of the day, I think for each woman, you need to just be able to be comfortable in what you're doing and know yourself. And the same for men, comfortable in what you're doing and know yourself as well. So yeah, and we need to go back to the old school fashion of courting and having conversations before knickers come off and everything there. So yeah, that's my little piece.
Well said, Marshall.
Blessings on the road. Blessings, darling.
Thank you, Mark.
Lovely people. I'm going to see you later.
Okay. All right.
Bye. Good
Have a
night. Good night.
Lisa, you want to go? Now you want to go and then I'll go? You go, then I'll go.
I hear a lot of words that slightly triggered me, but that's a different thing. I think like Zai said, your sexual satisfaction and gratification really is your responsibility. It's nice that you are in a relationship and you have somebody that could actually make it more fun, make it more enjoyable, make it more interesting, you know, all those good things. But again, relying on that one person to satisfy all your needs, I feel like that is a dangerous road. That is like, yeah, for me. That compromise word, I'm not too comfortable with that, because like you say, if he not in the mood, well, I go sort myself out and we good. Tomorrow we go see what happens. Similar to the guy, if she really not in the mood, you know, you could sort yourself out, or say, you know what, I'm ain't bother with that, I go try again tomorrow. But if it keeps happening, I think it like Marsha said, is a deeper problem. So it's something that needs to be talked about in a respectable way, in an open way, where you don't feel like, oh well, it's me, I's the problem, you don't want me no more, and kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just it's our responsibility to feel good, whether it be sexually, whether it be whatever. It had days we up, it had days we down, it had days we don't want to. And when you don't want to, you shouldn't be feeling like you should because somebody else wants you to. I think that is something that I learned, that I had to come back to. And that satisfaction, that sexual satisfaction, again, I don't think that you could always be on the same page, because everybody has a default. And they will always return to the default. So as much as it's exciting now and through the years it could be up and down, I think that's part of it. I honestly feel like that's part of it. But if you realize that there's a change, I feel like a big discussion needs to be had. It needs to be a raw, open discussion. Yeah. That's me.
Yeah, trading vibes. You next, please. Then we end with 9.
Right. So for me, I look at it this way. If it is you're just in a sexualized relationship with somebody, meaning that that's the pinnacle of it, then if it is that person is not desired or you don't desire that person, then it's going to create a lot of friction and a lot of tension. But from a relationship standpoint, if the relationship is built on the sexualized side, then that's a massive problem throughout, and it will always be an issue throughout. Because if the relationship starts that way, and that's where it is you'll feel at your best, and then one person falls short, it's going to create a massive issue, right? And the worst thing about it is that the person who recognizes that it's falls short, they might be too scared to say, hey, what's going on here, right? and the other person will be, I really don't want to say, because it could be so many different factors, right? You know, that their needs are not being met, even in that respect, you know, fully. You know? So for me, when I think about it in the holistic view of how it is we were talking today, is you gotta have that communication, you know, whether it is you're just in a situationship, where it is you're just going on that road of the sexual side or whatever, you gotta be at least open and letting a person know where you are on a mental level, on an emotional level, and it may sound crazy and it may sound like far-fetched that people won't really take it on board, but they would respect you so much more for it if it is you adopt that mentality, as opposed to pretending that everything is okay, everything is fine, and when you're in that situation or that situationship, that you're then bound by it, by some code or whatever, and then when it is you don't really feel for it, that person is then feeling, you know, less than, or they're feeling as if they don't
undesirable.
know, you know, how to support you. And then from a relationship point, that would support. And I know at least I got triggered with the word that she got triggered with. I wouldn't say it, but
Thanks, sir.
yeah, you know, I could see why people would use that word of the ebb and flow, like the Libra would say, the tips and the scales, right? But I always maintain that there should be a base. There should be a base that where no matter what happens up here and it crumbles down, the foundation of wherever it is yours started or whatever it is you have, that will always be the most paramount and the most telling indication of how fit you are, or how where you are, or how well you're able to cope within that situation or that relationship. Thank you.
I feel like you should be wearing your suit for that speech, you know.
No.
Right. Let's end with thank you so much. Nine, let's hear from you and then let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much mirrors a lot of what Zai said earlier. I think communication is key. Please communicate. Can't emphasize it enough. That's probably the biggest downfall to a lot of relationships, is the lack of communication. Feel free to talk about your previous encounters. Feel comfortable. And you know, if you're not feeling comfortable, then there's clearly a problem with the person you're with, because I can't see what the issue is. Why that would be an issue for anyone. But again, a point I think, is it Super Trini said it, or maybe Lisa? We were talking about where the dynamics of the relationship, if it's like very strong on the sex part, more than anything else, you know what I mean? Because then when things then slightly dip there, then it's like, well, what are you left with? And I feel like, yeah, this is why it's so important to have a versatile relationship. Spend time with each other, do things, go out, you know. I know we're on tough times at the moment, you know, inflation and all of that, but there are, you know, cute, smart things you could do with your partner at home without having the need to go out and things like that. And it's just, yeah, you know, and lots of talking.
Come and cook for you. Hi, Mel, come and cook. No,
you see, this is what I'm talking about, man. 100%.
Give you a romantic evening at low cost. No scene.
Yeah. I'm there, man.
You know?
You're cooking for single women too, huh?
No, hey, Jack.
We'll get tied up, Lisa. We'll tie you up.
Contract, yes? Sorry, Nai. Go ahead. Sorry.
Nah, man, I think I done. We talked about the freakiness, and yeah, it's about compromise. Someone's just put there in a comment. Always compromise. It's not just about you.
Definitely. It's been a wonderful topic. Zai, have any quick last comments before we go? You're on mute.
I had something in my mouth chewing. I didn't want to make a noise. I apologize. No, I said I just wanted to. Why Lisa laughing like that? It's only food. That's all it is.
The timing, Zai.
Right.
The comedy
Oh my
laugh.
God.
For having
Isn't it
me.
late over here in Ozai? It's after 12, you know. Right?
Hey, it's only like 8 o'clock in New York. It's only 8
That's what
o'clock
I'm
in New York.
saying.
So it's
After 12
It's
is
a
lunch,
different
right?
time.
After 12 is lunch.
Nah.
It's a different time here, you know.
Nah, but just thanks so much for inviting me. Really appreciate it.
Ozai was
Bless
out and bad tonight, though.
So once again, this has been Carnival Slayers Hot Sauce podcast brought to you by the amazing
Yep.
Carnival Slayers platform. Make sure you follow on all platforms Carnival Slayers, and of course check out the website carnivalslayers.com. Please once again shout out to our sponsors: Glow Dazzle by Giselle Cartier, GMI Mass Band, Just Vibes, Zaya Music, Relationship Coaching by Lisa Love, and of course On the Road, and of course Braff and
And
Zest
slay your
tomorrow.
experience.
Don't forget as well, Braff and Zest tomorrow event bright. Check it out. Don't forget to share. If you've enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed this conversation tonight, please share this video far and wide, and make sure you hit the notification bell and of course that subscribe button so you can be kept up to date when the next episode.
And be in the comments, people. Be in the comments.
One more thing, yeah? No means no.
And of course, no means no. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
No means no.
No means no. So with that being said, thank you all for your time. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of
Later,
Guys.
Good evening, everybody. Take care.
Good night.
Comment.
Bye-bye. Good night, everybody.
What part you love the most? Take care.